Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
How's the ankle?
Not too shabby, man. We're all right. Day 2.5, we'll call it. You know, got a nice workout in this morning. Did a little bike, did a little jog, did a little row machine. So no problems whatsoever. Now, did stub the ankle on the side of the couch. It kind of like slid it across the couch a little bit this morning. Didn't feel good. Had a couple choice words, but we responded, we adapted, and now we're here, Brent.
It was like another Blake Bortles interception.
You really don't realize exactly. You don't realize how much you can like stub your toes or like just you drag your feet on stuff until you actually have a little bit of an injury.
Absolutely. I was going to ask you how was the shower today, and then I was like, well, that might sound a little too personal. So I figured I'd go with how was the ankle.
No, and I'm glad you asked how the shower was, even though you didn't really ask me, but I'm going to talk about it anyways. I mean, I'll be honest. So last night after MMA, and I didn't really do a lot. I just did some shadow boxing yesterday, and you know, stakes have never been higher in terms of taking a shower. I had a lot going against me. I lost round one. I was probably down 10-8 on the scorecards, and I understood that, listen, put the music aside, no music, no bopping in the shower. This is strictly business. And I focused. I was very aware of my surroundings, and needless to say, the shower last night went off without a hitch.
So yesterday we had some of the most unusual injuries in sports, including Austin, not really in sports, but slicing his foot getting into the shower a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
7 stitches worth. And then, like, last night, my back starts hurting a little bit. And you know where it started?
What do you got?
Because I had the allergies going yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Well,
boy, did you.
In here and in public, one of the things you don't want to really be doing is sneezing.
Correct.
You're sneezing your arm or something like that, right?
Hold it in, Brent.
Or you hold it in.
Yeah.
Well, I can remember when I tried to hold one in over there, and I go, oh, man, that hurt.
So
in my back.
So you threw out your back from trying to sneeze.
I didn't really throw it out. I'm just saying I was like, let's not go over the top here. But I could feel a little like, oh.
Yeah.
And I was doing some stuff today, and I could still feel it. But
sure.
I'm all right. I mean, I'm tough enough. I played through it. But it was close. It was on the verge of, oh, my gosh. I got hurt earlier. I tendonitis in the ankle playing golf during the pandemic. And now sneezing got me.
I'm just saying, if you get hurt sneezing, I mean, take the shower out of it. It is by far the most impressive thing that you could do. I've also heard, though, if you actually hold the sneeze in, obviously it's bad for you, number one. But number two, I guess you can actually like displace a rib if you hold the sneeze in.
I bet you can.
So
be
careful with that, man.
It hurts. Yeah. I got a heck of an ab workout in yesterday.
But I get it. When you're in public, that's the last thing you want to do. I mean, people are going to,
You're being judged.
Exactly.
If you sneeze.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's twice I've gone to the grocery store, and I've had like kind of the little bit of allergies, and I was like,
sure.
I was like, oh man, I hope I don't sneeze in here. I just hope I don't sneeze.
Yeah.
What do? You
Man, you better get out of there as fast as possible. Because all of a sudden, like the alarms start going off, and like all of a sudden, some guys wearing these full suits come and grab you out of nowhere. It could happen.
It could happen. It's not good at all. Hey, the NBA players having second thoughts a little bit.
I'm sorry. Did I call this last week? I thought
we thought the NBA was on same page as Adam Silver. They were basically like, yeah, man, go ahead. Whatever you
thought it.
I did. I thought I read that.
What did I say? I said that there's no way you're going to have...
Did Woj lie to us on that?
I said there's no way, and we can go back to the footage if you want to go back to the footage of the audio here, but I said there's no way that these NBA athletes are going to be expected to be quarantined in the hotels for 2-something straight months. And your argument was, well, they're trying to win a championship, they'll adapt. No. When the outside world is starting to go back to normal here, you're not going to be cooped up in a hotel room at the Disney wide world of sports for 2+ months. It's just not going to happen. It's not realistic, and that's not how professional athletes operate. So I'm not surprised whatsoever.
We'll see where it goes from there. I think there's a little bit of pushback. I don't know if there's a lot of pushback, but there are some. I think I saw Woj last night on Scott Van Pelt, and he said that there could be a clause coming in the next couple of days where if guys don't want to play, then they don't have to play. Now, they won't get paid, but they don't have to do it. And so you could see teams that don't. It's going to be fascinating to watch again. Now, we think that could happen with Major League Baseball because of the shortened season. These guys are going into a playoffs trying to win a championship. Can you imagine LeBron just being like, yeah, I don't really want to play. I'm not comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Nah. He's got maybe one more chance to win a title.
No, I can see that, but I can definitely see them flexing on the rules a little bit as well and saying, listen, we're not going to be quarantined here in our hotels. We have a right to sleep in our own beds if we want to or something like that if we have some time off. So I just see I see some of the things in the in the stipulations being redacted, and I see kind of some new stipulations being brought up. Yeah, that's what I predict.
Be interesting. Golf is back today. Everybody who says I couldn't live without sports, celebrate today.
I mean, we've had MMA for the past month, but it's all good though. No worries. Yeah,
but some folks don't count MMA.
It's all good. Some folks don't call golf, so we're all good.
Well, and quite frankly, I love golf.
Yeah.
And I am not like, oh my gosh, I can finally live again. It's just like it's the most tired. I think to me out of these last couple months, that is the most tired feeling.
Yeah.
And sentiment. Like, oh my gosh, what do we do without sports? I live sports. My whole life has been sports. And guess what? I found out that you can reverse sear a steak, and it's been unbelievable.
You've been reverse searing steaks again?
Yeah.
Good stuff, isn't it?
Dude, twice this week. It's unbelievable.
Hey, post a picture, man. Join the club. Let's go.
I know.
Humble. He's humble, though.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But the reverse sear, like that I had never even tried or heard of or whatever.
Yep.
Until about a month and a half ago.
2020.
I
just
have
hearing about the reverse sear for the first time.
5 times. No, more than that. Like 6 or 7 times.
Sure. Yeah.
And every time it's been unbelievable.
Yep.
Now, the kitchen does get a little messy during the reverse because we put a little what's that, the olive oil, virgin olive oil on the pan, and it just kind of splatters everywhere.
Yep.
So, but it's unbelievable.
I hear you. The virgin olive oil is not a bad choice.
Night, it changed my life, I think.
The virgin olive oil, though, huh?
I think that's what it's called.
Butter.
Right?
No, I mean, that's what you can use, but butter. Hey, butter.
But they have the spray stuff, too, but.
Grass-fed butter.
Is that what you should do?
I mean, I'm not trying to tell you how to do your job, Brent. You're doing fine just the way you are. I'm just saying, though, you want to take it up a little notch? Try some grass-fed butter.
All right, I'll get on that.
Well, yeah. So then, you reverse sear it? So then, do you put it? You have an oven, or do you put it? Do you broil it, or do you put it on the grill?
No. So it's a 275 in the oven.
Sure.
For 45 minutes.
Yep.
Let it sit for 15 minutes, and then a minute and a half aside or whatever on the searing part. That's it.
Cast iron pot, cast iron. My man. Okay.
Well, it didn't start that way when I bought one.
Okay. Oh, you have to.
Yeah,
you have to. Yep.
And it's a life changer.
My
life has changed in the last couple months.
And obviously, keep that cast iron, that pot thing, keep out of the dishwasher.
Yeah, I don't know about the dishwasher part, okay?
I'm just, hey,
I'm the cook.
I'm trying to look.
I'm not the dishwasher.
Wow. King of the castle, huh? What a flex.
Hey, does the chef at the restaurant wash the dishes too?
Listen, when I cook, I got to clean everything as well.
Oh, yeah, man. Everyone gets their turn, right?
Yeah. But here's the other thing. So I've been, at Costco, you buy it's basically been sirloin for the most part.
Okay.
It's like that cap, steak cap, I don't know what it's called. There's a part of the steak that's called cap.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yep.
Not Bold City.
That's what I thought you were getting at.
So anyway, we buy the sirloin, and it's you can go anywhere from, I don't know, $8 to $10 a pound, I guess, with sirloin.
Sure.
It's big. It's right at Costco. And, we tried a little filet.
Treating yourselves a little bit.
Which was in the same price range for whatever reason at Costco. Maybe like $2 more a pound.
On sale, though, probably?
It must have been.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, treat yourselves.
And so we did it.
Yeah.
But both are spectacular is what I'm trying to tell you.
It's good stuff, man.
On sale meat always makes me a little nervous.
Screw it. Nothing makes me nervous.
No.
If I see that
on sale meat.
because I've worked at grocery stores, so I know why it's on sale. I gotta inspect it a little bit.
Dude, you get a tomahawk ribeye for $25 a pound. If it's $2 off, I'm like, whoa, I can't afford not to have this.
That's it.
I mean, I'm saving money.
That's it.
I mean, they're literally losing money right now. I mean, they're losing $2.
But if it's a thing of chicken and it's the little yellow or orange for sale or extra off on it, I'm like, all right,
maybe.
Why has this been sitting in the back long or what's up?
You're right.
I mean, chicken for sure, but you can dry age steaks for 90 days. It's all right.
Here's I don't get nervous about that. Steph's a big, you buy stuff and it's the sell by date, and she's like, oh well, it's it's the 17th and it was the 16th that it was done. I was like, Steph, it's the sell-by date. Like, it doesn't say like it's going to be poison you.
That just means they can't actually sell it after that day because of the potential.
Now listen.
Boost that immune system a little bit.
Did we
You'll be
throw
all right.
away like 2012 salad dressing? Probably.
For sure.
We did that
dude,
too.
it's all about the eye test and all about the smell test. If it smells fine, you're good to go. If it looks fine, you're good to go.
Nothing makes you feel less organized than cleaning out your fridge and realizing you have like ketchup or something from like 5 years ago still in there.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
It does happen. One last note on that though. Like we got an air fryer, $99.
Yep.
We went out and bought the $25 pan for the searing of the steak, right?
Cast iron, got to do it.
I think I might throw away my grill.
Oh, Brent, don't say that, though.
Like, I don't use
say
my
that,
grill.
Brent.
Like, I've used my grill twice, and I've cooked more from home in the last 3 months than in my entire lifetime. I say we. And I don't use the air fryer.
Yeah.
Ooh, baby. The air fryer is good.
Let me ask you this, though. Have you tried the reverse sear on the grill?
I haven't.
See now? Just
Should
saying. Let's just try it one time. Is it propane or charcoal?
It's charcoal.
Oh, man, Brent. I'm just saying maybe that special occasion, wedding anniversary, birthday or something like that. Try it on the grill, man. Especially charcoal grill where you got to kind of, set aside some time of the day to get that thing started, get those coals hot. See what you got with that charcoal grill one time.
How did we get on searing steaks?
You brought that up, sir. Hey, you try to flex all over everybody, but your reverse sear.
I did.
This is your
I'm just
idea.
telling you, try it.
Okay.
Try it. I was influenced, and I tried it.
Preaching the choir.
And here I am.
Hey, maybe if you want to talk to, Austin Lane of 17 years old, then tell him that.
Yeah.
I've been on the train, okay? I know what's up.
It's unbelievable. I have been missing out.
You have?
I should be 10 pounds heavier. Anyway, golf is back here in town, in Texas as well, so we'll keep you updated on that. The Camilo Villegas story is an emotional one. He's playing here in town, and he got off to a great start today, so good for him. We'll share that story. Also, what a night for Jacksonville baseball yesterday. Austin Martin gets drafted 5th overall. He slipped a little bit. A lot of people thought he'd go number 2 at the very least. And once he slipped past that, it wasn't really a surprise to go to number 5. I hate to say slip to number 5. You don't really slip to number 5. But a lot of people did project either 1 or 2. Mostly people said 2, that he could go. And I was really hoping he would go to the Marlins at number 3 because then he could play his AA ball right here in Jacksonville, which would be kind of cool, but probably better for him to get away, but good for us if that had happened. But I thought there would be a couple of pitchers in between. It looked like the Marlins and whoever picked 4th was going to go after pitcher regardless. So Toronto got themselves a really good player and maybe a little bit of a steal at number 5. And awesome for Austin Martin, man. The second highest pick ever from the Jacksonville area, if you consider high school baseball, like Chipper Jones was number 1. And he is second all time now. Think about that last night. And you also think about how not crazy big of a story it is. Yeah. If that had happened with a local football player, we talked about this yesterday, how big of a story that would be.
Of course.
Colby Holter, a couple of other players have their ears up today, second through the 5th round of the Major League Baseball draft. So we'll talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of read some of the experts' opinions about the draft a little bit, and they all agreed. I mean, the Toronto Blue Jays got an absolute steal of getting Austin Martin. So, great for them. Obviously, they went on Twitter a little bit, and the Blue Jays, all their fans on Twitter seem ecstatic that he kind of, and once again, we don't want to say fell to the Blue Jays, but, the Blue Jays acquired him. I was surprised, though, and I guess I was kind of naive to this fact in terms of pitchers. Right, because a couple pitchers went top 5, or I think it was 2 of them went before Austin Martin did. And obviously, when you take a pitcher, it's more of you're hoping that he turns out to be a starter. So sometimes you bring him in for relief relief duty. But I guess I always just assumed whether they're in high school or even that you develop them in college, that they come kind of game ready. And by game ready, I mean like they have 4 or 5 pitches already. Like the guys that got drafted top 5, I mean, they have a great fastball and a changeup and an okay slider. Both guys had that. I guess I just assume like everyone that gets taken in the top 5 is like a Justin Verlander, where you have like 10 different pitches you can throw and strike people out.
That's a really good call.
That's not the case at all.
I haven't watched a lot of the Major League Baseball draft in the past. We were watching, probably for the first hour, I would say yesterday. And you're right about that. I think there was the one kid, a kid from Minnesota, had like a plus fastball, which was like 98, 99. He's a little guy too, not really big.
Exactly.
And but he also has a very good slider. But he didn't really have the third pitch, is what they said.
They said like an okay change.
Yeah.
That's
So I was a little surprised by that too. But I think it was just such a good slider. The 1-2 punch of the fastball and slider was so good. I thought what else was interesting, there was a catcher that was taken like maybe late, like in the 30s pick. They said that guy could play. He's a high school kid. He could play. He's the best catcher in the draft, which means best out of all the college kids. And that he could play right now in the big leagues as a catcher. Now, could he hit and all that stuff?
Sure.
Like they said, he is a lock to make the big leagues as a backup catcher at the very least. That's how good he is as a catcher. You don't hear that in the Major League Baseball draft very often. Yeah. So it was kind of interesting to watch the draft and learn a little bit more about some of these other guys I had never even heard of.
So, but I guess my question to you is that, I mean, is it common for pitchers to develop like 2 or more pitches when they get to the big leagues, right? Because I remember like when Strasburg came in, like Strasburg was like, oh, this guy's ready to go. He's got the 2 seam, he's got the 4. I mean, he's got everything working for him, right? And it seemed like he was MLB ready. And I understand you have to take some time to develop guys, but I just feel like for some reason I thought when MLB players got drafted at the pitching spot, they came in ready to throw 4 different types of pitches, and that's not the case. So do they develop them, Brent, or is it kind of just you have your 2 to 3 pitches and you just hope that you can be a starter from it?
I think they develop them.
Yeah.
I do. I think you got to be able to have some pop with your fastball.
Yeah.
And then some people will say, like, there's a kid that plays for Creekside. He's going to JU. He has like a plus, somebody said, I don't even know how they rate this stuff. But they said he's got already a AA level curveball. Because of the spin rate on it.
Sure.
Connor Holtz is his name. Yeah. And I don't know really what that means, but obviously that's something people are keeping an eye on. And it's much like the quarterback position, right? Like if you've got a great arm, people will say, well, I'll teach that guy to do this or that. I can work with those tools.
Sure.
I think the pitchers are the same way in that sense, where it's like if this kid's got a live arm, and even if he can't harness it, I can teach him to harness it and throw more strikes and get control. But if he's got a live arm and he's got a slider or a curveball, well, we'll work on the other things. But that's a great starting point.
Yeah.
Because keep in mind, so many of these guys, at the very earliest, for most of them, I know there are the outliers. I think the college kids, you'll see them in the big leagues maybe 3 years down the road. The high school kids, you might not see them for 5 or 6 years in the big leagues. I mean, that's not uncommon to really see. So there's a lot of development that will now go on from the time they get picked to the time they make the major leagues. But I do liken it to the quarterback spot. Or no different than maybe even taking a wide receiver, right? I'm going to work. You're going to get Laviska Shenault. He's already got this great package of tools. But now Keenan McCardell is going to work on how to run routes, how to be savvy at this level running routes and what you can do off the line of scrimmage, Yeah. So I guess no different in that regard.
Sure.
You never stop learning. You're not a finished product.
No, I get you. I guess I just thought that, like these guys are already working on their craft even in high school and in college, right? Because once you get to the major leagues, you have to have probably a variety of pitches unless you're like a Josh Hader type who just has the heat coming from a left-handed style. So I guess I was just a little surprised of like if you throw 95 to 98 miles per hour in high school or in college, you're probably going to get drafted in the first round regardless of what else you bring to the table.
Yeah, pretty good stuff last night with Austin Martin. We'll talk about tonight's draft part and see what happens there. We're going to take a break here on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. When we come back, we begin talking a little football. Why not? That's the way we usually start the show. We will talk a little more about the NBA, though. I'm interested in that. There was a conversation CBS Sports had. They actually had Tebow, Dan Mullen, and Urban Meyer on the same Zoom call, if you will. And we're talking about best quarterbacks. But it's an interesting conversation, right? Tebow gets in the conversation of great college players. A guy this week was in the news because some people think he's the greatest college player they ever saw, Reggie Bush. Get into that a little bit later on in the show as well. By the way, coming up in just a short bit, Maurice Jones-Drew joins us on everything happening in the world. What does he see from the Jaguars from afar? He's going to join us in about 10 minutes here on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the first alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Hot and humid under partly sunny skies today with scattered showers and a few thunderstorms this afternoon, especially inland. Highs will be near 90. Partly cloudy tonight down in the low 70s and partly sunny for tomorrow and Saturday. Scattered mainly inland afternoon showers and thunderstorms each day and highs in the mid to upper 80s. From the First Alert Weather Center, I'm Action News Jax Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds. Buy one, get one wedding band sale through this Sunday at Beards Diamonds.
I call them 3 shirt days. That's when the summer heat in Jacksonville just sizzles. It's relentless, and you want to be prepared for it. Bold City Heating and Air will help you do that. Nothing worse than sweating in your own home and wondering, hey, what happened to the AC? We've been there before. Your air conditioning unit needs to be ready for the heat. It might need to get serviced. The hot weather is here, and Bold City Heating and Air is here for you, just like they have been for my family the last couple of years. Right now, it's $25 off an annual maintenance. Bold City will thoroughly service, clean, and test your system to ensure it is working efficiently. Then you'll be comfortable this summer, all summer. After the $25 off, it's just $70. Book your maintenance service now and save. Save now, beat the heat. Visit boldcityac.com or call 904-379-1648 to schedule. Mirza and his staff are ready to take care of you and your family. Be bold and beat the heat and make it a one-shirt day, even in the summer heat. Go to boldcityac.com.
It's sale time at your neighborhood Ace with cool gifts for Dad, like grills by Weber and Traeger or Big Green Eggs, and lots of items from Yeti. Ace Wild Bird Food in the 20-pound bag, 2 for $10. Air filters, various sizes, buy 2, get 1 free. Get liquid chlorine in the 1-gallon jug for just $2.99. Pool shock treatments in 1-pound bags, 3 for $10. Find more great deals in the location nearest you at acehardware.com. Sale ends June 22nd.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Been dreaming of Subway tile and butcher block counters? Outdoor kitchens and pavers?
Oh, honey.
The weather's great and it's time to knock out those nagging home projects with a Honeydew HELOC from 1-to-1 Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. Borrow up to 90% loan to value and pay no closing costs. Best of all, we'll give you a free wheelbarrow. That's right, a free wheelbarrow. Apply today at 1to1fcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA. Just please, no more shiplap.
Hi, I'm Nathan from Gordon Chevy in Orange Park with some good news. We've been having a lot of fun helping our customers get the cars they want, and we know it's only going to get better. Get this, Chevy has eased the requirements for 0% financing. So if you hesitated last month, now's the time to come on in and take advantage of some great offers during Gordon's Hot Summer event. We were just voted the #1 new and used car dealer for the 2nd year in a row. Come and see why. Gordon Chevy on the money-saving end of Blanding Boulevard in Orange Park or GordonChevy.com. Chevy, find new roads.
Reliant Roofing, Solar, and Hurricane Shutters is pleased to announce its 4th annual Every Shingle Heart initiative. This year, they will give a free roof to one healthcare worker or first responder in Northeast Florida. The individuals who've been making the ultimate sacrifice over the last several months during the COVID-19 pandemic. Reliant wants to return the favor to someone in these fields. To nominate someone, you can visit their website, ReliantRoofing.com/Every Shingle Heart. Nominations will open June 15th until July 31st. The recipient chosen will be announced on August 15th, 2020.
Nobody wants tax problems, and lives have certainly changed in the last couple of months. So let me tell you about J. David Tax Law. They are here to help you and your business with tax debt issues during the pandemic. Tax problems can be stressful, especially right now. If you owe a tax debt, there are new programs available that can help reduce or eliminate your IRS or sales tax burden. But here's the deal. The programs expire on July 15th, so don't wait. That's coming soon. Get the help you need with tax debt, payroll taxes, bank levies, wage garnishments, tax liens, and unfiled returns. With stimulus packages being distributed, the IRS will be collecting an unprecedented amount of tax debt to fund this historic initiative. J. David Tax Law only has experienced tax attorneys that will represent you. You want to be able to walk in and talk to someone and look them right in the eye when it comes to your taxes. J. David Tax Law is someone you can trust. If you have federal or state sales tax debt, have a sit down with J. David Tax Law. Your first step is a no-cost consultation. Call J. David Tax Law 904-507-4777, 904-507-4777, or go to jdavidtaxlaw.com. Oh, it's hot in Jacksonville. Summer is here. Hotter weather means your family should be drinking more water. Stay hydrated, but make sure you do it in a healthy way. Take care of your family by having clean, purified water. That's what we have in our house. With a Kinetico system from CGC Water, you can remove up to 99% of contaminants. And right now, you can get an incredible offer, a free A200 reverse osmosis drinking water system with the purchase of a Kinetico Premier softener. Call CGC at 904-552-1242. CGC will test your tap water so you can better understand what's in your water. That's important. It's free, and there is no obligation to buy anything. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. And while you're on the website, CGC wants your help to recognize frontline workers. They've been doing a great job. Nominate a worker, and they might get a free RO system. cgcwater.com, serving Northeast Florida and Southeastern Georgia. CGC Water Treatment, your local independent Kinetico dealer.
Hello, business owners. We're all in this together. Our company, CMG Jacksonville, knows you need clients to trust your brand. We have the right people and the ideal platforms to help you do that. It's important to advertise now more than ever. Now, to create an unbreakable loyalty to your brand, CMG Jacksonville can help you make that happen.
Hi, I'm Phil Howard, and they call me Profit Manager here at Cox Media Group because my only focus is to deliver advertising and marketing results for the businesses I work with. Our 8 radio stations and extensive online marketing tools, which include partnerships with Facebook and Google, have done just that for many local businesses. I'm here for you and to help you grow strategically. Call me at 451-2872. That's 451-2872. I want to be your profit manager.
There's a new, modern, patient-centered orthopedic practice in Jacksonville.
We believe that the patient pays money for a doctor and should be seen by a doctor.
Ortho Edge.
They're getting the most technologically available medicine there is.
Ortho Edge.
You're going to get a much better experience with your physician. We all see our patients.
Get the answers right away and more focused care on patients.
Find out more about us at orthoedge.com.
Ortho Edge. We're in the DePaul building attached to St. Vincent's Medical Center, Riverside.
At Action News Jax, we tell a weather story that's really built just for you. Most of us have lives that take us out in the elements for work, for play, or just getting from point A to point B. And that means you need to be ready to get through your day.
I'm Action News Jax First Alert Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish. Our team of meteorologists didn't go to school just to read you temperatures. We do this so that the people that trust us know exactly what to expect today, tomorrow, and the next day.
Action News Jax First Alert Weather Team. We're here for severe.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Austin Lane from Action Sports Jax and ESPN 690. Social distancing doesn't mean disconnecting. If you're working from home, keep tabs on the world of sports and Action Sports Jax on your smart speaker. Tell your Amazon Echo or Google Home, play ESPN 690.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jag.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Been having some sessions with the guys. I feel like we're getting some really good work in. We've had a great spring on the Zoom calls and got a lot of progress, a lot of great things out of those meetings. And it's really been good this week to come back and get a bunch of the guys together and get some work on the field. Like you mentioned, we had a little fun with paintball today, changed it up a little bit. I think we had, I don't know how many guys, a ton of guys out there. We played a bunch of different games and had some fun. So it was good to see a lot of faces that I hadn't seen in a long time, guys on defense that came out and just have some fun together.
Paintball.
That is Ryan Tannehill, Titans quarterback. Thought he was banned from the show.
Do you believe in the Tennessee Titans yet, Brent, or not?
No.
Not even from the AFC Championship. Okay.
Selling.
I got you. Selling it. All right.
Hey, paintball, one of those. I didn't know they'd be doing these kind of team activities, but I guess you can do that. You go fishing or you go play golf,
maybe
right?
Bowling, right?
Yeah, you can do some of that stuff. What was the best one you ever did?
Dude, paintballing, hands down, because I got to shoot Joe Cohen in the face. Yeah. So
did you really get him in the face?
I got him in the face. Yeah. So in paintballing, I mean, it was literally like offense versus defense, right? Or it was like, it was like 30 on 30, and. Brent, you know how I get down. Like, I used to paintball as a kid, right? I even went to paintball tournaments in Michigan. So, and when it comes to paintball, I have no fear.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're probably a paintball psycho.
Oh, yeah, I just run down the field and just hopefully I don't get hit. But, yeah, I actually snuck behind Joe Cohen and, like, a bunch of the guys sitting behind a bunker and popped them all, man. It was cool. So, to see Joe Cohen take the walk of shame with some paint in his face was one of the greatest moments of my NFL career, let's just say.
What other team building exercise stick out to you?
We've done bowling. I remember doing bowling. Went to a pool one time with the Chiefs. Dude,
a pool?
Yeah, just like a swim day. Like as opposed to we're gonna go up practice. We had a swim day, so that was cool. And keep in mind too, the thing that we used to always do is we always knew there's gonna be one team activity day, whether it's during OTAs or mini camp. Usually during OTAs, right? So the first thing we would do every single day before we go out to practice is we check the Gatorades. Right? We check the Gatorade buckets on the field. If they're empty or if it's just water, that means you had a team building day. You know what I'm saying? So, like, every single practice, I would check to make sure, all right, well, there's Gator in here. Probably got practice today.
You didn't like surprises anymore.
Didn't like surprises, man. No, especially in this Jacksonville heat, no surprises for me. Thanks.
Hey, this guy probably knows about some team-building moments. We welcome in Maurice Jones-Drew at Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. What's happening, man?
I'm doing well, Brent. How are you?
We're doing fantastic. Paintball was Austin's favorite team-building moment. You got one?
I want to say, I think early in my career, one time Coach Del Rio took us like to the movies or something. I don't remember. I mean, it's so many. That was so long ago. We've done so many different things. I do think it's important though for a team for players to kind of have that day off where they can relax and hang out with each other. But I want to say the movies. I forget what movie it was too, but it was like I want to say it was like 2006 we did that.
All right, that makes sense. I think that's a popular one sometimes. Movies, bowling, we've seen it as well. Maurice Jones-Drew, former Jags running back, one of the greats all time in Jaguars history, joining us on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. I was thinking of this, and I want to ask you about a bunch of different things, and we appreciate you taking the time. But how's the family, man? I was thinking of Deuce the other day. What's he up to? How old is he? Is he a star? Is he already better than you?
No, Deuce is he just turned 12 yesterday, which is crazy. To think that I have a 12-year-old son.
Happy birthday.
He is an exceptional athlete, a really good student. He's way better than I was as a kid. So I hate to say it, but he has better vision, better understanding about football than I did because I just played it. And he loves the game. So it's exciting to watch him go through his trials and his issues and him sorting them out. And you know, he's at that point where he's starting to hit puberty a little bit, so we were dealing with that as well. It's just an exciting time right now in the household.
Yeah, does he look like he's going to be your build, or can you tell yet?
I think he's going to be taller than me, to be honest with you.
Is he just a football guy?
I think he'll be like 5'10".
Okay. Is he just a football guy?
Oh, no. He plays rugby. That was his second sport. I think he told me he wants to. You know, I kind of try to let my kids pick and choose what they want to do. We have one rule: whatever you start, you have to finish. So he's been playing rugby the last 3 or 4 years. Really good at that. Really likes that different type of game. I think he said he's going to stop doing rugby though and go into track, which is something that I did around his age as well. So it's going to be exciting to kind of see what he can do on the track. It's a different competition out there, different cats, different speed. So it's going to be exciting to see him compete in that realm. But, football is his first love like it was mine, and that's always exciting.
Mo, are you living in California or like New Zealand right now? I didn't know rugby was that big a thing with like the youth. Is that kind of big in California, or is that kind of nationwide? Because I'm missing out.
Oh, it's nationwide, man. It's huge. Wow. They play tournaments. You have teams come from all over the country. They'll travel and they'll go to Vegas to play big tournaments. They do a lot. I mean, it's exciting. It's an exciting game. Not as expensive as football, which I think you still have the context where a lot of people can afford it in certain areas. But it's huge. Right here in the Bay Area, the University of Cal has won, I want to say 5 of the 6 last national championships in rugby in college. St. Mary's University is right behind them. They're right here in the Bay Area as well. So you have a big rugby following here, which is nice. And the best part about it is they teach the proper technique. And how they tackle in rugby is very similar to what the league is going to tackle-wise. And so it's exciting to see, him get those constant reps of how to hit with the proper technique, get your head out of it, use your shoulders, drive your feet. It's exciting. And like I said, I didn't know much about it. I always just tell them, back in when I grew up, it was just like we just throw one person the ball, everyone tried to tackle them,
Yep.
That's pretty much what rugby looks like to me, but there's a little bit more scheme to it. And they'll try to teach me it, but they have fun running. And you have to rugby is like the mix of soccer and football. So it keeps them in great shape, and they enjoy it.
That's awesome, man. Maurice Jones-Drew with us, former Jags running back, living out west. Hopefully everybody's doing well during the pandemic. I wanted to touch base with you and have you on, and I want your reaction to what you've seen the last week in Jacksonville. I'm sure you've been watching. I know you pay attention to the Jaguars. We know what's happening across the country, Black Lives Matter movement, and Jaguars have been, at least from our vantage point, because we're right here, front and center here in town, with Shad Khan writing an op-ed Friday, the march from team headquarters to the steps of JSO, and Chris Conley, amongst others, delivered passionate messages. Tuesday, Leonard Fournette held a march attended by probably about 1,000 folks from City Hall and a short walk. And even in the last couple of days, Shad Khan now has had a Zoom call with players of the Jacksonville Jaguars to say what's next. What's your view of what this football franchise has done over the last week?
Well, I think it's been amazing. First of all, I have to applaud Shad Khan to speak out as one of the only owners in the NFL or people who run your franchise in the NFL to speak out against this, right? Teams have put out statements, which, everyone's going to have a statement, but to go out and call it what it is, I think it shows that he understands. And I think that's the most important part, that you understand there is a problem in our country. It's a big problem. And so that's huge. I applaud the players for going out and doing that, because so many times, Brent, when I was there, we would try to stand up and say stuff, and what would we hear? Just play football. Just focus on football. And it's bigger than that. And so, I applaud those players and that organization. Obviously, Shad Khan for what he did. But, you have to keep going. I think Chris Conley's message was important. This isn't a moment in time. This doesn't need to be a moment. It just needs to be a movement. And with movement, you have to keep going. It's not enough, and I'm not going to dive into like my views on it, because I think that is, people probably don't want to hear that. But I feel like there's been so much that's went on in Jacksonville, from the guy who shot into that car of those young boys, right, at a gas station that I went to. Off of Bay Meadows, that a lot of my players and teammates went to, and coaches and people that play for the organization, and people in general went to. And the fact that he got convicted of attempted murder, but not the murder of the guy that he killed, right? That's a problem to me. And that is part of the systematic racism that we're talking about. You killed someone in the car, regardless of what it was. You should have been charged for that murder. Let alone it was a young black kid that you killed. And so I remember reading about that and hearing about that and listening to what his lawyer said after, which, again, it's, these things sit with you, because when you're raising young African-American men or black men like I am, and like Austin, well, I don't know, Austin, do you have boys yet?
Yes, one. Yep.
Yeah, see, there you go. You're in the midst of it as well.
Yes, sir.
And I know you. I remember I've spoken with you about your story and you being from Wisconsin and the things you had to deal with as well.
Yep.
It's hard to have those conversations every day when I have to wake up and explain to my children why someone that looks like them or looks like me is getting treated that way. And yet this is supposed to be the land of the free, right, and the home of the brave. Well, it's not very brave for people not to see that being wrong and not standing up and say that's wrong. And it's not, obviously that's not free when someone's handcuffed and you have your knee on the back on his neck for over 8 minutes. And so to see these players speak out, especially in a time when, social media and, you can get backlash, you can lose endorsement deals like we've seen before with other guys. You can be blackballed like we saw with Colin Kaepernick. It takes a lot to do that. And to see those guys stand up and speak, it speaks volumes of where we're going. We're not where we need to be. We have a long way to go. But I truly, applaud those guys. And then the people who marched with them, because it's not just black people marching. Brent, I hope you got out there and had your poster.
Yeah, we were out there on Friday, man.
That's what I'm talking about, Brent.
I will say this. I don't want to mislead. I was covering the event, and it was a powerful.
You were out there.
It was a powerful Friday morning. It was. I told folks, and I'm not just saying this. I told Austin this. I said it Friday, just to reiterate. it will be one of the most indelible moments and images that I'll carry with me in 20 years of the business. So, it is a powerful movement. The messages, the words, and you'll get this, Maurice. Chris Conley not only sharing his message, but I've said this multiple times since Friday. The image of Chris Conley with Ernest Wilford, who used to play for the Jags and is now an officer for the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. Is right now, for me, in my mind, the image that I will take away from the last couple of weeks.
Well, and you're absolutely right, Brent, because go ahead, Mo. Sorry.
No, I was going to say before you real quick, and I want people to understand the real issue we have here. And for some reason, the issue has gone away. People, we hear about the couple bad apples. And Austin, we've been on teams together, and we've played together. If I see you doing something wrong, and I don't say that that's wrong and tell you that that's wrong, I become a bad apple because I'm allowing that behavior to keep going.
Correct.
That is part of the problem. And so I am very happy to see Ernest Wilford, who was in the locker room that I was in. And I remember when Ernest went to JSO, I remember it was a big deal to us that he went there because it was like, okay, finally we have a guy that has been on both sides, right? And he can go and help. He can be an advocate for us. And it was and I've watched and I saw and it was very, like you said, it was a strong moment there to have a former Jags player who's now a Jacksonville Sheriff standing amongst the players because he saw what we saw. And you can't tell me if you watch those videos of any of the things that have happened over the last couple of weeks, let alone the last years and decades of what's been going on, that is okay. And so, again, I have to slow down because I do get excited about this because this is something I'm very passionate about. But I'm very excited that the players decided to do this and Leonard decided to do that and they're raising awareness. And Brent, to be honest, just because you were there covering doesn't mean that your voice isn't what is needed. That is what is needed. Let's remember, the reason that we're all up in arms is because someone was videotaping what happened. So as the media, we have a voice and we have an obligation to hold people accountable and then educate people on what's going on as well. And that's why I'm happy that you were there. You should never apologize for just because you didn't hold a sign. You were there doing a job that is just as important as Chris Conley, who was speaking, or just as important as Ernest Wilford, who was there showing his support being an officer. Your job is just as important.
Very well said, Mo. And it was funny, too, because I've been to a few of these protests now, and I don't go and cover them. I don't even go as a former Jaguars player. I just go as a black man who's trying to have his voice heard in the community and try to, help out his brothers and sisters. But there was always a part of me through these protests where, what would I do if I saw Ernest, right? Because, Mo, and I think you've been to some of the protests before, too, like sometimes, the language of the chants, it's not police positive, right? And obviously Ernest Wilford and me, we've shared a locker room together. So we have that camaraderie. We have that brotherhood. Well, at the last one I was at, I finally got to see Ernest. And I'll be honest with you, I was kind of questioning how I would be received by him because once again we have a crowd that's chanting "F the police" and everything, and I'm not chanting that, but I'm in it. I'm part of it as well. But Ernest came up to me, man, gave me the biggest hug you could ever imagine, said, "Hey, thank you for coming out here and doing your part," and like that was a really powerful moment for me. And obviously, I'm proud as heck of that dude for what he's doing now, man. A great member of the community. But it was amazing to see him out there in his uniform, and and also being understanding of what's going on too, and supporting people like me who go out and protest. So that was great. Mo, you actually you talked about the owners a little bit, and obviously Roger Goodell came out, kind of said his piece, and for the first time I really feel like the Shield now is rallying behind the players. I have my own thoughts about the NFL and how they treat their players, and I've been very candid about that, but I think for the first time, they're starting to rally a little bit. But where do the owners fall into this? Where does the accountability of the owners fall into the situation? Yes, Shad Khan has come out and said something. Guess what? Shad Khan doesn't look like any other NFL owner in the entire league. Should the owners say something to try to unify the NFL, I guess?
That's always a tough question, and I have to be careful of how I say this because I don't want I believe in what I believe in, and I want people to understand that. I'm a 35-year-old black man who's been a victim of different situations with the police, right? different things. And I've had my history in Jacksonville with some of the things that have happened, and I've owned up to that. I don't know how they feel because I don't think they've ever been in the position that I've ever been in. And so I can't tell them that, hey, you have to do this or, hey, you have to do that. That is on what they want to do. That's their business, right? The NFL is a billion-dollar business, a multi-billion-dollar business. That has a lot of players that have been in the same situations like myself in Austin. I think that when the players got together and they made that video and then the NFL posted it on social media, that became the turning point of when Roger Goodell had to speak out. Because at this point, the first message, the statement that they wrote, it wasn't – I mean, it said something, but it didn't say anything, if that makes sense. But once Patrick Mahomes got out there and some of these big-time players, you're seeing Deshaun Watson march with the people in Houston. You're seeing Dak Prescott donate $1 million, and you're seeing these players with the power that they have, right? That the following and the influence that they have go out there and start speaking, and then they make a video. All of a sudden, it becomes a serious issue. And I also think that what Drew Brees said when he came out in that Yahoo Finance deal made it a big issue, because now I'm thinking, well, does all the star quarterbacks that look like Drew Brees think like that? Right? Because that's the natural assumption. And so I think the league as a whole, they started to find themselves kind of in quicksand. Things were just unraveling quickly for them. And they had to come out. And I again, applaud Roger Goodell for going out and saying something. I applaud the GM for the Colts, Chris Ballard, who said, you know, I never saw this. I'm awake. Now I realize these type of things. Well, that's awesome. Congratulations. Now you're awake. Everyone understands there's a problem. What are you going to do to help us fix it? Are we going to change the history books in school that don't talk about slavery, right? Or at least don't tell the real truth of slavery? Are we going to talk about the things that happened in segregation and all the terrorist attacks that happened to black people in the South? Are we going to start to educate people on those so that our children's children understand that was wrong? And so it's like everyone, statement is awesome. That's great. Like, speak out on it if you want to. We're past that now. We need to start taking action, and we need to start moving forward, and we need to start figuring out how can we stop this from happening. Everyone's made a statement at this point or said their piece to it. What are you going to do to move forward to help this? And I remember specifically coming to Jacksonville, Brent, and I don't know if you know this, Austin, you probably don't. And I remember talking to the PR department and the Jags Foundation, and I'm trying to figure out what I can do to help, because there was a school, and I don't remember the school's name, and it's neither here nor there, but they had chapters of books missing. And this was an inner city Jacksonville school. How can these kids, regardless of what they look like, how can they get a proper education to get an opportunity to be successful in life if you don't even know if chapter 3 of the book is missing of a math book or whatever science book? How can we help you be better? And so I remember going to the Jags saying, I want to buy this school all new books and computers and everything I can, because how can these kids in the city that I'm playing football in, making a lot of money, how can they have the opportunity to do that? You can't even get a scholarship if you can't pass the SAT. You can't go to college if you don't have the right GPA. And so those things were very important to me. And I remember teaming up with the Jags, and we went out and we did some things in the community to help that, because that is important. And so the same as what we're dealing with now, education is important. Understanding the truth, not as what was being told to you, but what's actually documented in books, in libraries, about the things that have gone on. Yeah, we have a couple movies about it, and you know, it's like, oh my God, but that was just a movie. Like, those people live like that. That bombing in Selma, Alabama was real. Someone lost their daughter because of that. Those people were beaten walking across that bridge. Like, this isn't what happened May 25th. Isn't the first time this has happened. And when I say this, I hope people don't take it. It's not going to be the last time. Until we as a nation, as people, decide to educate ourselves on what's going on, and then decide to put our foot down and say no more.
Yeah, I think.
And so those are the things that we're dealing with.
Absolutely. Maurice Jones-Drew, passionate and knowledgeable and sharing some thoughts on this subject. Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 right now. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane as well. And I think what we found out in the last couple of weeks, and I don't know if we found out, but it's being brought to light, is that I think several chapters of our history books have been missing for a long, long time. Maurice Jones-Drew, former great running back here in Jacksonville. I want to ask you this, man. You are one of the greats. Here for this football team, for this football franchise. You were beloved. I mean, take away the one, your holdout where it got a little sticky with some fans. People loved you. People loved you all across the country. They loved you for your fantasy football stats. They loved you for the rolling ball of butcher knives. They liked Maurice Jones-Drew, I think. I think you felt that. But as a black athlete, a black man here in Jacksonville for this organization, even though you were beloved, did you feel some of this anyway, and couldn't really say much because maybe of your star status, not enough support? Can you take us through any of that, or was not? Yeah, that not as real for you?
I would say, no. It's always been real. I mean, and it had nothing to do with Jacksonville. It was just my experience as a black man in America. The people there treated me, unbelievable. We had actually, one of my good friends from Jacksonville is a police officer. His name was Willie. And Willie flew on the planes with us, and we hung out, and we talked, and we had dinners. Skip Richardson, our security guy, another one of my good friends. Like, that wasn't the issue. That was never the issue with the experience. Like, the experiences that I had were like, I would, again, like the Bay Meadows gas station issue. People may not think it affects people, but that affected me because guess what? I'm raising two young black boys who like that type of music. And I guarantee you when they're 16, they're going to be playing that music loud as they want to. And it was almost okay for that guy. He felt it was okay for him to do what he did and go back and do those things. That affects me.
That's a Trayvon Martin
there's times
case.
that I've been to restaurants. Say it again?
That's a Trayvon Martin case you're referring to, yeah.
No, not the Trayvon Martin case. It was the one where the guy shot in the gas station. It was literally in Jacksonville, and they I forget his name. He killed it. It was 4 kids in a car. He shot they were in the gas station playing music. He told them to turn their music down. Said a couple racial slurs. They went in his car and grabbed his gun.
Jordan Davis?
Yes.
Yes, Jordan Davis.
Yes.
My bad. Yes, that's
Jordan Davis. Right. So that affects me because, one, I play music loud. That could have been me. Mm-hmm. 2, I'm raising 2 young black men. That could have been me. I remember earlier in my career, there were some times in Jacksonville where, I would take my wife who's white. We'd go to a restaurant. They sit us in the back of restaurants. And the restaurant would be wide open. But, again, that was it sucks to say that, but that was a norm for me, if that makes sense. Like that, we knew that was going to happen. Mm-hmm. And so, yet, you still try to go out and live your life, understanding that those things are going to happen to you. You're going to be, mistreated in some way, shape, or form. I've been pulled over by police officers in Jacksonville, haven't had any issue with them, not one. Yet I was still nervous when I got pulled over by a police officer, just because it's happened to me before in other cities where, I end up being slammed on the hood of my car or getting arrested for no reason or, being interrogated out in public, right? Those things are embarrassing and they leave an impact or they scar you. And so even though nothing necessarily happened in Jacksonville, doesn't mean that I wasn't frightened and afraid. And when those things did happen, like the restaurant thing, I would go back and tell the Jags about it, and the Jags would, they would look into it, and there's nothing they can say, there's nothing they can do. You just got to know where you're going, and that sucks. To be honest, if you can't go to a restaurant and eat without being mistreated, that's a pretty sucky life. Like, you have to sit at home all day. And I know we all were upset about the pandemic. No one wanted to be at home during the pandemic. But sometimes that's what it was for us. And so it's just one of those things where, that was a norm in my life for a time. And, and there still is. There's still times when to be quite frank, I was just at a bar in L.A., and we got sat in the back of the bar. It was me and a bunch of my friends. And the table next to us was a younger group of kids. They were white. We were black. They got their server, which was our server, went to them 4 times, came to us once. We ordered food, and they ordered food 20 minutes after us and got their food 20 minutes before us, and we got our food, which was cold. I'm not saying it could have been a coincidence.
Yeah, it could have
I
been.
don't know.
Yeah, but it gets you thinking
It
about
could have been a
it.
coincidence.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But to be quite frank with you, it wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't. And so those are the things that you become used to because that's what your life is like all the time. And Brent, to be quite honest with you, it's crazy. Like, dude, I made a lot of money playing football, and I have a name. And so if they're going to treat me like that, imagine what they're going to treat just someone who's just black that didn't play football, that doesn't have money.
Yeah.
And I grew up that way. So it's just like, and so like that's why I said I applaud Fournette, I applaud Shad Khan, I applaud the Jaguars in general, their whole organizations, Tad Dickman, everyone, Marcus Pollard, for going out there and organizing, because you got a glimpse in the life of what it's like. You got to, that was 8 minutes of what it was like to be for George Floyd, of what it could be for a lot of what it has been and what it could be for a lot of other black people.
This does,
and it got people upset.
Yeah, it does feel different. It feels we've been having these conversations for a couple of weeks. I hope they don't stop. I wish we could spend more time with you, man. Too. I don't want to keep you through the break, but we are going to, on the other side, I'm going to mention your Facebook post when you were in that Oakland uniform. Yeah. Give us like 20 seconds on it. Your celebration when you ran for a touchdown in an Oakland uniform in your final year.
Yeah, well, listen, again, I was in Oakland. I came back home. My boys, my oldest one he's big into politics. So he's always been, which is weird, but he's been, and he saw it on TV, and he wanted to have this conversation. I couldn't have that conversation with a 7-year-old kid about why this guy got shot and he had his hands up. No matter whatever he did, it doesn't matter what you did. That wasn't that man's job to shoot him, and so I couldn't find a way to have this conversation with him. And so I decided that night, after not sleeping for a while, to just celebrate. Celebration's always been one of the things I love to do. But that year, that was a celebration I was going to do every time I scored. I only scored in that one preseason game, which sucked. But that was how I did it. I put my hands up to just the universal symbol of hands up, don't shoot. And when I came back home, I was able to then have that conversation with him to tell him, I had to have the same conversation with him, Brent, to be quite frank with you. And you probably had this conversation as well. Mm-hmm. The same conversation my grandfather had with my aunts and uncles and my mother. The same conversation my mom and my grandpa had with me when I first started driving. It was that when you get pulled over, you already are a threat. So you have to abide by certain rules. You can't make certain movements. You look them in the eye. You don't take your eyes off them. Keep your hands in visible sight. All the things that you shouldn't have to do, right? And I had to have the conversation with a 7-year-old kid and my nephew, who was 8 at the time, because that's what happened.
Yeah.
And so those are tough conversations to have. I mean, again, I'm gonna have to have that. My son just turned 12 yesterday, so I had to have that conversation again with him. But again, we're having these conversations over and over and over again. I can't allow my son to go out and jog around the house, around the neighborhood, because I don't know if at 12 years old are they going to see him as a grown man, and that's a shame.
Yeah, it is. Hey, powerful stuff, man. Love when we can catch up with you. I appreciate all the words and the thoughts and the passion. And let's get you on again before football season. We can talk a little football, Gardner Minshew, and the rest. How about that?
No problem. I'll see you guys later.
All right. Maurice Jones-Drew, former Jags great, powerful 20 minutes or so with him. Yeah. We'll talk more about it on the other side when we get back. ESPN 690. I call them 3 shirt days. That's when the summer heat in Jacksonville just sizzles. It's relentless, and you want to be prepared for it. Bold City Heating and Air will help you do that. Nothing worse than sweating in your own home and wondering, hey, what happened to the AC? We've been there before. Your air conditioning unit needs to be ready for the heat. It might need to get serviced. The hot weather is here, and Bold City Heating and Air is here for you, just like they have been for my family the last couple of years. Right now, it's $25 off an annual maintenance. Bold City will thoroughly service, clean, and test your system to ensure it is working efficiently. Then you'll be comfortable this summer, all summer. After the $25 off, it's just $70. Book your maintenance service now and save. Save now, beat the heat. Visit boldcityac.com or call 904-379-1648 to schedule. Mirza and his staff are ready to take care of you and your family. Be bold and beat the heat and make it a one-shirt day, even in the summer heat. Go to boldcityac.com.
Hello, business owners. We're all in this together. Our company, CMG Jacksonville, knows you need clients to trust your brand. We have the right people and the ideal platforms to help you do that. It's important to advertise now more than ever. Now, to create an unbreakable loyalty to your brand, CMG Jacksonville can help you make that happen.
Hi, this is Elvin Fluellen, media consultant at Cox Media Group Jacksonville. I help businesses grow by connecting them with the right potential customers. I provide businesses with creative solutions using our highly rated radio stations. I also help businesses grow online with our marketing strategies and our unique online targeting capabilities. Let's build your brand. It's what I love to do, and I'm ready to help you grow your business and exceed your goals. To learn how I can help and take your business to the next level, call me today at 904-245-8688. That's only if you want your business to grow. Call me, 904-245-8688.
Now more than ever, you need the open road. Windows down, wind in your hair, pure freedom. Then go see our friends over at Arlington Toyota, because their massive construction sale was made to put you behind the wheel today. Think you can't afford a new ride? Think again. At Arlington, you choose 0 down with low payments or no payments until 2021. Get into Arlington today where you can drive away in a new Toyota Corolla for $199 a month with 0 down or no payments till 2021. That's a pre-owned Corolla for $199 down with 0 down or no payments until 2021. How about a Toyota Camry for $249 a month with 0 down or no payments till 2021? That's a pre-owned Camry for $249 a month with nothing down or no payments till 2021. Plus, with Arlington's Credit for Everyone program, if your Beacon score is from 450 to 850, Arlington's getting almost everyone approved. And you get Arlington's 30-day exchange policy on any vehicle you purchase. As always, your safety is Arlington's priority. Go see them today, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit Arlington Toyota/June offers for full details.
Redbox has top entertainment when you need it most. If you're in the mood for a thriller, make sure you see The Invisible Man. Trapped in a violent relationship with a wealthy scientist, Cecilia, played by Elizabeth Moss, escapes and goes into hiding. When he commits suicide and leaves her a fortune, Cecilia's sanity begins to unravel as she is hunted by someone no one can see. With our current world situation changing every day, one thing remains the same: our love for movies. Make it a movie night and visit redbox.com for all the ways to watch.
Okay, boss, here's the house. Been watching it all week.
And you're sure it only has a big blue alarm system?
Yep. That means we should have all the time we need.
Yeah, still can't believe Big Blue Alarm is allowing their employees to monitor alarm systems while they're working from home.
Yeah, let's see, how many times do I get distracted when I'm at my house?
Right? Well, let's just hope the Big Blue operator monitoring this house just started binge-watching a TV show.
Meanwhile, right across the street, Safe Touch is still as steady as can be with the fastest guaranteed response time anywhere.
And that is why we're standing on the outside of the house with the Big Blue Alarm.
Just following the Crooks R Us motto, stay away from Safe Touch houses.
Yeah. All right, let's get busy.
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
This is a message from the National Council on Aging. The coronavirus is especially dangerous to older adults. NCOA understands your concerns, and we want to help you and your loved ones make informed decisions about your health and how to weather these challenging times. Together, we can get through this. For the latest information on the coronavirus from trusted sources like the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, visit ncoa.org.
Hi, I'm Nathan with Gordon Chevy in Orange Park with some good news. We've been having a lot of fun helping our customers get what they want, and we know it's only going to get better. We've got a great selection of new and used cars, and get this, Chevy has eased the requirement for 0% financing. So come on in and take advantage of some great offers during Gordon's Hot Summer event. We were just voted the #1 new and used car dealer for a second year in a row. And come see us, come see why. Gordon Chevy on the money-saving end of Blanding Boulevard in Orange Park. GordonChevy.com. Chevy, find new roads.
O'Reilly. Right now at O'Reilly Auto Parts, get up to a $15 gift card after mail-in rebate when you purchase select Superstart batteries. With high cranking power and reserve capacity, Superstart batteries provide all the power your vehicle demands and more. Turn the key with confidence. Superstart batteries only at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Anyone who builds, remodels, or repairs for a living, we know the way you work has changed. That's why Lowe's is committing today to build new ways to keep you working tomorrow. We are proud to introduce the new Lowe's for Pros job site, powered by Stream, an augmented video chat tool so you can be there for your customers without actually being there. And the cost to use? Try it free through October 31st at lowesforpros.com/proloyalty. Just one of the reasons why Lowe's is the new home for pros. Services subject to Stream terms. Lowe's loyalty membership required. More terms apply.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station. Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
I get fired up every day because I get to work with our guys, and I get to see how smart and how much they just thrive on life and competition and just the greatness in which they bring to my spirit every day. And I mean, I always wish that everybody could feel that, and that's what really our guys want, man. They want to take this and allow others to feel it. We've got to be open-minded and open-hearted to do this.
That is Andy Reid, Super Bowl winning coach. And this is an organization of the Kansas City Chiefs who, with the Hunt family as ownership group, has been very forward-thinking in the past. And I think I heard somebody reference how open they've been during this time period as well. Mm-hmm. Kansas City could lead the way. We have had so many of these discussions in the last couple of weeks, and I don't say that. I hope I don't mean to say that, but like, okay, we've had enough of the discussions. I don't think we have. I try to be very careful with my word choice in that. Mm-hmm. I think the discussions have been so powerful. All you have to do is listen to the last 20 minutes with Maurice Jones-Drew. And we have tried to balance it with sports discussion, but you do keep coming back to some topics and some talking points about how do you advance it. And we just mentioned briefly that the Jaguars and Shad Khan had met with a bunch of players over Zoom in the last day or so about what to do next. Mark Long tweeted about it, and there were a lot of players on that call. And isn't that another good sign? Like, we have to continue to see things. Like, it's so easy to have a conversation with Maurice Jones-Drew and then, okay, let's just go talk football again. Yeah. But internally in the organizations, it's so easy to do that, too, because your job is to play football, right? No, for sure. Your job, again, we've had these talks, is not to change the world necessarily. Yeah. But you certainly can use the platform to help change. And I think it's an interesting balance right now. I don't know how to verbalize it as much as I wish I could, but I think it's an interesting balance of what's going on in organizations and the football side of things and these discussions ongoing to what we can do next. Because in my opinion, man, the Jags have been front and center with this, even if they're getting the attention for being or not. They have done a lot of good things in the last week with the Black Lives Matter movement and just change and being a catalyst and being a leader in that group. And again, they might not get the credit. We talked about that earlier in the week. That's fine. Yeah. But now they have to continue it. Don't just have a week where that is the case. Continue to be on the front line of this with a minority owner, with some impassioned players that have delivered powerful messages. And I would say a guy like Leonard Fournette, if he wants to take that, he has a bigger platform than anybody else has on that football team because he's more transcendent outside of Jacksonville than anybody else, maybe outside of Gardner Minshew. So it's good to see these discussions going on. And Maurice brought it up, too. I don't know what's next. I don't know how the action continues, but I think they're trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, obviously with an organization last year where, we've kind of grilled them on in terms of communication, right? There's just a lack of communication on the field. There's a lack of communication in that stadium, in the front office. And obviously, the game of football right now and just what's going on with life is two completely different things, but it can kind of mirror each other a little bit. And the fact that Shad Khan has kind of taken upon himself to have these Zoom conversations, to hear from his players a little bit, to get his thoughts. I mean, listen, Shad Khan's just as big of an ambassador, I think, to what's going on right now, to this cause, just like Drew Brees is going to be. Drew Brees has been obviously calling out with the Donald Trump and everything like that. I mean, like everyone has their role to play, okay? And I don't want that to come across the wrong way, but everyone can have a role. Brent, like, Mo said when you talked about where you covered the event. That was huge, man. Just, get the fact that we're getting the word out that the Jaguars players organized a protest, that's huge. Now, should it have gotten more publicity from, like, the national coverage? Maybe, and we've had that conversation before. But everyone's got their role to play. But the most important part is realizing that, right? Because I think right now this game is way too big to sit on the sidelines and do nothing. So it's great that the Jacksonville Jaguars are stepping up. And let's be honest, if they keep on stepping up and keep leading with action, that's contagious. And other teams in the NFL will be forced to take notice because they don't want to fall behind and they're worried about their optics as well. So the Jacksonville Jaguars are kind of like the pioneer right now and the front runner.
Well, in that regard, I'm going to continue the conversation for a couple moments because we didn't get to this yesterday. I wanted to. Richard Sherman said this to the San Francisco Chronicle about Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones especially has no problem speaking up any other time about anything else, but when it's such a serious issue, he could really make a huge impact on it with a few words. His silence speaks volumes. If you take it back to a couple of weeks ago, I remember saying, hey, listen, remember we were talking about the Jags. All right, is Shad Khan going to say something? The Jaguars going to say something. Yeah. And we came in on a Monday. That hadn't happened. On a Tuesday, that hadn't happened. We anticipated something was coming. I could tell something was coming. And it happened on Wednesday. So it took a couple of days, and that was even after Saturday and Sunday protests. And you had some words initially about this whole thing, even on Friday. So some time had passed. And so the point was, listen now, there's not a timetable on this. This is a long thing. This is a long movement, a battle, a change. I think it's a little unfair to say, hey, if you don't have your statement in or what you're going to do to change the world by 3 o'clock today, well, that's a little too much, at least I thought.
Sure.
I wonder if it is by now fair to say, okay, Jerry Jones, you are like America's team.
Yeah.
You are. Richard Sherman's not necessarily wrong. You do speak out a lot. You're the guy in front of the mic more so than the head coach. Mm-hmm. Where is Jerry Jones a fair question right now? Has it taken too long?
So I want to do a social experiment here. Kuz, this involves you, man. I got a question for you, Kuz. How many NFL owners can you name right now?
Probably 2, maybe 3.
And who are those two? Obviously, Shad Khan and Jerry Jones?
Yeah.
Okay, obviously Shad Khan because we covered the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's an easy one. And then Jerry Jones. Why Jerry Jones? Let me ask you that question.
Because he talks a lot.
Okay, thank you. And that's exactly my point here. I have no problem not calling people out. I think we've been over this before. Everyone has a right to say or to keep quiet if they want to. But when it starts affecting your personality trait, then it becomes a red flag. The reason why Richard Sherman is calling out Jerry Jones right now, the reason why I think a lot of NFL players, including his own teammates right now, are looking to Jerry Jones to say something because he's always the guy that craves the spotlight. When Ezekiel Elliott was trying to get his contract done and he was sitting out, Jerry Jones had no problem going on a local radio station and saying, Zeke who? All right? So Jerry Jones craves the spotlight. Jerry Jones is all about getting his voice out there in the airwaves and saying what he has to say. So the fact right now that Jerry Jones hasn't said anything, Well, he's going against his personality, okay? He's going against who he is, at least in my opinion. And this is where I guess some of the frustration comes from with guys like Richard Sherman, where it's okay if you don't say anything. I get it. If you're an owner and you just want to keep your mouth shut right now, that's fine. But you've never been that guy before, okay? You've never been that guy that is quiet about anything. You're very outspoken. So the fact that you kind of chose to just remain silent while this whole thing's been escalating, while Roger Goodell's coming out, while Shad Khan's doing his thing, well, right now your silence, if you're Jerry Jones, speaks volumes. So I think that's where the issue is that he's going against his personality right now.
I think it's an interesting spot for teams and ownership groups and everything else. If you want to come out with a statement, then you come out with a statement. If you want to do what the Jags did and say, hey, we're going to take our time with this because we want to think about what the right thing to do is, and we're not going to sit here and say, hey, by the way, we're thinking about it. We'll be back. You don't say that. Mm-hmm. Well, then they did. I mean, there were some sincere steps made that have been powerful in this city. Forget about beyond, but at least in this city in the last week, I would say they took the right steps, and taking an extra 48 hours to figure that out was probably well planned and well done. This has been a while. I mean, it's now been I would call it 10 days or so. And so if Jerry Jones is working on something bigger, if they're trying to make the right move and kind of see where things settle and what they can do next, and not just be a statement or $1 million check. And I say just, I think everything helps, but
everything helps.
Maybe that's going on here. I also think I think it's fair to criticize him. I really do. I think it's fair to wonder. I also think it's I will go back to what I originally said. There's not a time clock. There's not a clock on this. There is, if he comes out in the next day or two, are we going to say he came out just because Richard Sherman called him out, or was he going to come out anyway? Again, I don't really care how we get to good and all that stuff.
Sure.
Get to good is part of it. I'll give you an example. Dino Babers, the head coach at Syracuse, I think I read 14 black coaches in America in college football. Hadn't said anything. It's a black coach in America at Syracuse, at a big institution. Hadn't said anything. And I read today that his players essentially begged him to come out and say something. Like they wanted him to say something. They wanted, I don't know if he was being highly criticized for not saying anything, but it's a man with a big platform.
He is. But to be fair,
and wasn't saying anything.
I haven't heard a lot of sound bites from him, though. You know what I'm saying? I don't know much about the guy.
I don't even know if it's apples and apples. I'm just saying it's some people take more time to, or other motivation to. It's again, I think it's important not to put the world is not going to change whether we like it or not in a 2-week span.
No, I understand that. I guess my big point, though, and once again, the Syracuse coach, I don't know if he's very outspoken or not. I've never heard him really say anything in terms of sound bites. I've heard Jerry Jones talk all the time. And I've heard Jerry Jones kind of just fly by the seat of his pants and say whatever he wants. Okay, so
but maybe he doesn't want to do. Is it fair to say he doesn't want to do that right now because it's not a fly by your seat?
Well, maybe he doesn't want to do it because he does. You know what he has to say, people don't want to hear.
Well, maybe, and that's fair enough. Like I said, I think it's fair to criticize him right now. I do.
Sure.
I just like to think around the whole story on it.
No, I understand, and I'm just telling you where I'm coming from. I just think that if you've always been this outspoken individual, regardless of the topic, and all of a sudden, 3-4 weeks go by and it's all quiet on the Western Front, well, then that speaks volumes. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and the connections are there. Where there were some reports that he threatened to bench players who kneeled during the national anthem years ago. So, I think we're waiting. I think what will Jerry Jones do? I mean, I'm not saying it's just as important as the commissioner saying something in the NFL. The shield is bigger than even Jerry Jones.
Sure.
But I do think a lot of people know what Kuz just said. Jerry Jones is a powerful player in the NFL.
Listen, you have all this energy, and you have all this energy to be candid and say whatever you want. Don't lose it now, man.
Yeah.
Keep being yourself. We're waiting on you. We're not calling out at least I'm not calling out every other owner and saying, well, where's this guy? Where's Snyder and he's not with the, I think he's the GM. Where's Snyder in Seattle? I'm not calling anybody out. Yeah. I'm just calling Jerry out because people know who you are, because you know why you talk all the time. Why are you talking now?
Fair enough. By the way, along these lines, Tom Pelissero just tweeted the NFL is expanding its social justice efforts through a 10-year, $250 million fund to combat systemic racism and support the battle against the ongoing and historic injustices faced by African Americans. Some initiatives and dollars being put to it. You know, listen, if I'm a black man in America, if I'm a black athlete in the NFL, I think my first response on a lot of these issues are like, well, thanks for finally listening.
Sure.
I mean, where were you? It's not like you haven't been a billion-dollar business for a couple of decades. But then I do come back to, listen, we can't erase that, I guess. I mean, it took them too long. You know, I don't know if when we have changes and movements and things that are important issues like this, keeping a scoreboard is the right way to be. I think it's our first reaction, but I think it's a dangerous reaction, you know, to keep the scoreboard on it, because to me that creates debate and off-topic conversations, and let's stay on mission. So I would say I applaud the NFL for doing this. I will just admit my first reaction is, okay, why couldn't we done this? Why would it even take Colin Kaepernick to start that? Why didn't we have this already in place to some degree in the biggest sport in the United States?
And keep in mind too, the NFL really hasn't, in my at least view, hasn't really acknowledged Colin Kaepernick yet.
They still
have. They've said the whole protesting things, stuff like that, but they haven't really acknowledged Colin Kaepernick. And I just feel, you know, to take the next step, eventually you're gonna have to do that. You're gonna have to acknowledge him.
And that's an interesting one to me. And I understand that you come from a totally different viewpoint on that than I do, I think. But to me, Kaepernick and the acknowledgement stuff, and it's not good enough unless you say his name or you apologize or you give him a job. I will just be honest with you and say I don't feel as strongly about that for this, what I just said. I don't think we should be keeping scoreboards and going backwards. You know,
no, I agree.
But if it means a lot to black players in the league, well, then you should listen to black. What are we all doing right now, right? What is everybody saying? Like, what are CEOs saying? What are commissioners saying? What are coaches saying? We're going to listen. We're going to learn. Well, if that's what the black athlete is saying in the NFL, they would like you to acknowledge Colin Kaepernick, Eric Reed. Well, then I think you have to listen to it. I'm just saying, for me, for this movement to continue, for good to be done, I don't need that. I don't need that.
See, and me personally, I do need that. And listen, take the fact, if Kaepernick, while we're playing the NFL again, okay, take the skill set out of it. Does he have the skill set to compete as a backup quarterback right now? I have no idea, okay? I'd like to think that if he gets a chance, it's going to be fair, not based off, you know, his skin color, but I have no idea if he still has the tangibles to be a backup quarterback or even a starting quarterback in the NFL. Not sure. I'm just going by history right now because, you know, when we had Maurice Jones-Drew on, you know, the last segment, one thing that he was super passionate about, and I agree with him, is that history, you know, in textbooks and things like that, some things have been, you know, left blank and some things have been omitted. Now, whether that's some kind of inside deal, whether that's some kind of conspiracy, whatever it is, but that's fact, okay? I had no idea what the Tulsa, you know, the Black Wall Street. I had no idea what that was until I saw Watchmen about a year and a half ago.
Oh, I had no idea about it until 3 weeks ago.
No idea ago. And I felt bad, man. I'm like, where was this? I had no idea, right? So there's some things.
And by the way, that's sometimes like some of that stuff I would say shame on me, you know.
Sure.
I was reading about the Confederate flag and the NASCAR move, and it got me today, this morning. I read it for about an hour and a half back on the Civil War.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where I've gone. I went from NASCAR, Confederate flag, read McGee's article on the Confederate flag for ESPN, and it got me onto the Civil War to make sure I looked things up because, I remember a couple of chapters about it in history class.
Sure.
But should I know more? I mean, that's where we've been really to these last couple of weeks. It's been eye-opening for the white man as well, I think, you know, the white person.
Exactly. So I think one of the big battles that's getting forged right now is obviously the history, right? And it's educating people on the history and what those Confederate flags mean, what those Confederate monuments mean to some people, okay?
Yeah.
And it's all about educating people.
We talked about it yesterday, just to interrupt you real quick. You know what the Confederate flag meant to me as a kid from growing up?
Yeah.
And I'm just being honest with you. It meant the Dukes of Hazzard.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, that's where I saw it. Like, I know that's the South, but I mean, that's for a kid from Rhode Island.
Sure.
I didn't know that much more than that about the Confederate flag.
And I was kind of in the same boat for a while.
Obviously, as you grow up, you learn more about it. I'm just saying
Exactly.
that's as a kid. That's how you're grown up.
Sure.
I associate it with the Dukes of Hazzard.
Exactly. Yeah. So I guess, my point of history, though, right, where if you don't acknowledge Colin Kaepernick and you keep his name out of your statements if you're the NFL, if you're Roger Goodell, well, then you're not acknowledging really the spark that kind of changed this whole thing. Right. And you're not really acknowledging the history. And right now, I think what a lot of the black population is trying to do is we are trying to educate people. We are trying to bring them up to speed, if you will, for those that want to listen. Well, Colin Kaepernick's a big part of history, and it's not right not to acknowledge him. So that's why I feel like it's important to acknowledge Colin Kaepernick and to say, you know what, we messed up here. Obviously, we support the right to protest now. And, back in 2016 or 15 or whatever it was, we didn't do it the right way. And we're sorry for that, and we acknowledge Colin Kaepernick. I just feel like you have to mention him, and you have to make him a part of the history, or essentially you're doing the exact same thing which has been done for, forever now, where we're trying to omit things that we don't want to talk about because maybe they're hard, and you can't do that.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That is fair. And I think players are going to be heard on that front, by the way. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. That's an interesting part of this discussion, is that part of it. And to me, it goes back to a little bit of the scoreboard, but you just said an important part of it. It more might do with the history of it and kind of the documentation of it. One more thought on this, okay? And I didn't know we were going to go this deep today on it, but we got kind of into the discussions. And I wanted to bring this up because there was something that happened that because I think it wasn't the NFL, because sports are kind of coming back a little bit, because the protests, because there's so many different issues going on, whether it's in Jacksonville or beyond, it just feels like a lot is happening, and it's easy to lose sight of something. And maybe not everybody lost sight of it, but I think it was a little bit downplayed. Torrey Hunter, great player for the Minnesota Twins for many years, said this on Golic and Wingo a couple of days back. I've been called the N-word in Boston 100 times, all the time. From little kids and grown-ups right next to them didn't say anything. So I had a no-trade clause in everything I had not to go to Boston. Not because of the teammates, not because of the front office. Because if you're doing that and allowing it amongst the people, I don't want to be there. He had a no-trade clause to go to the Red Sox. Again, this came out a couple of days ago. This isn't brand new in that regard.
And a very popular player nonetheless as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And a very good player.
Yeah.
But what I thought is interesting, I just want to make sure I get this correct and sharing it. So just give me a moment. Here's what's unbelievable, maybe, is the Red Sox came out and acknowledged that was true, and that it was true. What Torrey Hunter said. And I didn't expect it to be this war of words. But then they followed with this statement that came out in the last day or two, where we stand. It says, I've been struggling to find the right words to express the profound anguish, outrage, and confusion we are all feeling in the wake of the heartbreaking incidents that have occurred across the country. Over the past few years, I spent time connecting with many of you, listening to your perspectives. I'm so grateful. This was from Sam Kennedy, who consistently reminded the Red Sox have an obligation to amplify the voices of those who share our values but do not share our platform. Silence in the face of injustice is unacceptable. But that wasn't even the one I wanted to share. The one where they acknowledge that racism, they have heard it. They have seen it. They have seen it not only toward players but toward employees. Wow. In Boston, by the way, if you really look back at the history, they have a history of being labeled racist from mostly the Red Sox, way back. I think you could find the documentation of that. It's not something, but also I think it was with the Celtics and other teams. It just was that way. I mean, I heard that growing up as a kid. I don't have examples of it, but you just heard that black players might not want to play here.
Yeah, I remember watching the ESPN 30 for 30. They kind of touched about that when it was like the Celtics versus the Lakers, and they kind of touched on that a little bit as well with the racism in Boston.
Yeah, and so it's interesting to hear a team like the Red Sox come out and say what they did in the acknowledgement. Yeah, they didn't come out and say, "Hey, we're gonna." Not wave these flags anymore. We're not going to donate this money. We're not going to the statement. We didn't write an op-ed. We're not all these things. They acknowledged the systemic problem that people are talking about. It's pretty powerful for an organization, especially the Red. I mean, this is the Red Sox, man. We're talking about the Red Sox. We're talking about the Yankees. We're talking about the Cowboys, the Packers,
storied
the
franchises,
Steelers.
man.
Yeah, I mean, it was a powerful statement from the Red Sox. Almost a sad truth. I guess, as well. This is the one I was looking for, by the way. It said, Torrey Hunter's experience is real. If you doubt him because you never heard it yourself, take it from us, it happens. Last year, there were 7 reported incidents at Fenway Park where fans used racial slurs. Those are just the ones we know about. And it's not only players. It happens to the dedicated black employees who work for us on game days. Their uniforms may be different, but their voices and experience are just as important. We are grateful to everyone who has spoken up, remained committed to using our platform to amplify the voices to call out injustice. There are well-established consequences for fans who use racial slurs and hate speech in our venue, and we know we have more work to do. This small group of fans does not represent who we are, but are rather a reflection of larger systemic issues that as an organization we need to address. I mean, really, really a powerful response to Torrey Hunter. And again, I think it's worth saying that's not to say, listen, I'm from the New England area. I hope I'm a Red Sox fan. I hope I don't get labeled as a racist because I'm a Red Sox fan. I don't think people with common sense view it that way. But even in 2020, 2019, they had 7 reported incidents. I mean, that should shed a light on it, right? And by the way, their biggest stars of the last 20 years, their biggest stars, David Ortiz, Mookie Betts.
Yeah, and now I was just going to prove that point. Like, you spend your hard-earned money, and obviously you're a fan because you do that and you go to the games. So you go to the games, and you're supposed to be cheering these guys on because this is your team. You spent your hard-earned money on it, and you yell racial slurs at them? Like,
or opposition, I guess is fair
or opposition as well, sure. But like, I'll never. Listen, I'm a dude who's pretty open to a lot of things, and I can see the other sides of a lot of things. I can't come with anybody on this one, man, because I'll never understand that.
Well, you shouldn't come with anybody on that. You've told us a story, by the way, some similar with Tyson Alualu, and you almost got almost went up in the stands. I think that was in Oakland. You said, right?
Yeah, well, and it's funny because I have this preconceived notion that Oakland's usually like it's an inner city, right? I mean, you'd expect a lot of black people. Let's be honest, at the game, and we're going through warm-ups, and I've told the story before, but we're going through warm-ups, and this guy just kept on yelling and yelling and yelling. And for whatever reason, he keyed in on Tyson Alualu. And you know Tyson, Brent, you know it firsthand. He's the quietest guy ever. And he's one of the sweetest guys that you're ever going to meet. And I had enough, man, because it was racially charged, not only to him, but also to me. So I tried to hop the stands and confront this guy. And Mel Tucker obviously pulled me aside. And obviously I'm emotional. You know, I'm a wreck. I'm like, well, he just said this, and this. And Coach Tuck, who's obviously a black dude as well, he's like, listen, that's going to happen sometimes, all right? Get it out of your head, or else I'm going to play out of the game. I'm like, okay. And, we just had to go on. Not saying it was right, man, but that's just what we had to do.
It shows you kind of what when Marie had Maurice Jones-Drew on. It happens sometimes, and you learn to live with it.
Yeah.
And that's not right. And I think that's what's coming to light more than ever before. Too late, obviously, but it's happening in our country. All right, we're going to shift over to sports. I don't mean that saying, okay, we're done with that. We have continued these conversations. We will continue the conversations, but we're also talking a little sports. Golf is back. Where are some of the scoreboards? More Major League Baseball tonight, and some more Jacksonville kids could get picked. We'll talk about it on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Partly cloudy tonight, down in the low 70s, and partly sunny for tomorrow and Saturday. Scattered mainly inland afternoon showers and thunderstorms each day, and highs in the mid to upper 80s. From the First Alert Weather Center, I'm Action News Jax Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds. Buy one, get one wedding band sale through this Sunday at Beards Diamonds.
I call them 3 shirt days. That's when the summer heat in Jacksonville just sizzles. It's relentless, and you want to be prepared for it. Bold City Heating and Air will help you do that. Nothing worse than sweating in your own home and wondering, hey, what happened to the AC? We've been there before. Your air conditioning unit needs to be ready for the heat. It might need to get serviced. The hot weather is here, and Bold City Heating and Air is here for you, just like they have been for my family the last couple of years. Right now, it's $25 off an annual maintenance. Bold City will thoroughly service, clean, and test your system to ensure it is working efficiently. Then you'll be comfortable this summer, all summer. After the $25 off, it's just $70. Book your maintenance service now and save. Save now, beat the heat. Visit boldcityac.com or call 904-379-1648 to schedule. Mirza and his staff are ready to take care of you and your family. Be bold and beat the heat and make it a one-shirt day, even in the summer heat. Go to boldcityac.com.
Everyone's loving what Diamonds Direct is doing right now. It's the best stimulus plan ever. 5 years, zero interest financing on any purchase with no money down. It's Diamonds Direct's way of helping you make your money go further as we all look forward to better days. Just pick any item in Diamonds Direct showcases. Get the amazing value price you know we're known for. Make no down payment and spread your payments over 5 years without paying a dime in interest. That means a $6,000 designer ring is yours for just $100 a month. This makes everything more affordable at a time when we need it most. Rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, bands, colored gemstones, designer fashion jewelry. Take the price, divide by 60, and that's your payment. You can even finance the sales tax. Celebrate summer, celebrate life, celebrate love with Diamonds Direct's most spectacular offer ever. 5 years, zero interest with nothing down. Now for a limited time on approved credit. Diamonds Direct.
Off Town Center Parkway.
The Army National Guard plays a vital role in your community. We're on the front lines supporting essential personnel, first responders, law enforcement, and medical professionals, delivering food, supplies, and medicine, keeping communities safe, making a difference. During emergencies, we're always ready, always there. Learn more about part-time service in the Army National Guard at nationalguard.com.
Sponsored by the Florida Army National Guard, aired by the Florida Association of Broadcasters and this station.
We have bigger rolls of carpet, hardwood too, laminates, hot area rocks for you. At the Carpet Man, at the Carpet Man.
Our prices are low, 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 low.
At the Carpet Man, at the Carpet Man.
Don't delay, we'll put it in next day.
At the Carpet Man, at the Carpet Man. Y'all them sees now, you hear? At the Carpet Man, at the Carpet Man.
Visit one of our mega flooring stores or go to carpetman.biz or
call 838-6705, the Carpet Man.
If you don't have Safe Touch monitoring, there's a good chance your system is getting monitored from someone's home. Yes, work from home has come to the security industry, but not at Safe Touch Security. At Safe Touch, that is totally unacceptable and doesn't meet UL requirements. At Safe Touch Security, our monitoring center is committed to maintaining our high standards. The only guaranteed response in the alarm industry with an incredible 8-second average. And our two-way communicator provides the very fastest response from the emergency authorities for burglary, medical, and fire. And the Safe Touch crash and smash technology detects crime before it enters the property. Our halo of protection and Safe Touch cameras report crime before it happens many times. And every Safe Touch security system is custom designed for you and comes with our exclusive Safe Touch parts and labor agreement at no charge. Safe Touch security systems have a guaranteed response and are installed by real professionals. Know you and your family are safe and protected the right way. Go to safetouch.com right now for more information. Safe Touch, doing what others can't for over 35 years. State license number EF0000233. Now more than ever, you need the open road. Windows down, wind in your hair, pure freedom. Then go see our friends over at Arlington Toyota, because their massive construction sale was made to put you behind the wheel today. Think you can't afford a new ride? Think again. At Arlington, you choose zero down with low payments or no payments until 2021. Get to Arlington today where you can drive away in a Toyota RAV4 XLE for $285 a month with zero down or no payments until 2021. That's a pre-owned RAV4 for $285 a month with zero down or no payments till 2021. How about a Toyota Tacoma for $285 a month with zero down or no payments until 2021? We're talking about a pre-owned Tacoma for $285 a month with zero down or no payments till 2021. Plus, with Arlington's Credit for Everyone program, if your Beacon score is from 450 to 850, Arlington's getting almost everyone approved. And you get Arlington's 30-day exchange policy on any vehicle you purchase. As always, your safety is Arlington's priority. Go see them today, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota/June offers for full details.
I call them 3 shirt days. That's when the summer heat in Jacksonville just sizzles. It's relentless, and you want to be prepared for it. Bold City Heating and Air will help you do that. Nothing worse than sweating in your own home and wondering, hey, what happened to the AC? We've been there before. Your air conditioning unit needs to be ready for the heat. It might need to get serviced. The hot weather is here, and Bold City Heating and Air is here for you, just like they have been for my family the last couple of years. Right now, it's $25 off an annual maintenance. Bold City will thoroughly service, clean, and test your system to ensure it is working efficiently. Then you'll be comfortable this summer, all summer. After the $25 off, it's just $70. Book your maintenance service now and save. Save now, beat the heat. Visit boldcityac.com or call 904-379-1648 to schedule. Mirza and his staff are ready to take care of you and your family. Be bold and beat the heat and make it a one-shirt day, even in the summer heat. Go to boldcityac.com.
The global coronavirus outbreak is stretching the coping capacity of even the best prepared countries. Yet the world has barely begun to come to grips with how coronavirus threatens the world's poorest communities. Send a care package at carepackage.org to those who need it most. These care packages will ensure hygiene supplies, hand-washing stations, and drinkable water gets to people most in need. Visit carepackage.org to send a care package today.
It's sale time at your neighborhood Ace with cool gifts for Dad, like grills by Weber and Traeger or Big Green Eggs, and lots of items from Yeti. Ace Wild Bird Food in the 20-pound bag, 2 for $10. Air filters, various sizes, buy 2, get 1 free. Get liquid chlorine in the 1-gallon jug for just $2.99. Pool shock treatments in 1-pound bags, 3 for $10. Find more great deals in the location nearest you at acehardware.com. Sale ends June 22nd.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Hey everybody, it's Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jacks. There's a good chance you have a smart speaker, so use it with the ESPN 690. Stay up to date on the Jags and all things sports by telling Alexa or Google to play ESPN 690. It's as easy as that. Make sure you listen weekdays 3 until 6 p.m. on ESPN 690.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
With the issue with the racial issues going on now, I mean, it breaks my heart. I'm an old head, so I've been around long enough to have seen a few generations, and now 3 different generations come through, including my own. And I'm so happy. I'm so fired up about our younger generation, man. I mean, they are taking it and they're attacking this thing the right way. And I just think we have this great country, and these kids know how great this country is. They absolutely know how great it is, and all they want to do is make it better.
I can guarantee you football coaches didn't think they'd be talking about this.
Sure.
And kind of having a bigger role than just X's and O's and winning Super Bowls and everything else.
Yeah.
Be really interesting, organizational. That was Andy Reid, of course, Super Bowl champion, Kansas City Chiefs head coach. Be really interesting organizationally how much – we brought this up kind of the other day, how coaches, even if they don't fare that well on the field this year, how they'll be judged by their owner on how they handle this off-the-field movement situation internally in their buildings, externally in terms of their messaging. Be interesting. I almost feel like, hey, it's like if you're going to hire a coach right now, isn't that part of the interview process? Like, isn't that part of looking into your coach? Be like, hey, how will he handle these issues? How will he handle these discussions? How will he lead this group of young men? Kind of what coaches were intended to be in the first place, right? Through life, not just W's and wins on a scoreboard. It would be really dynamic to pick a coach right now.
Listen, and I talked about it before a little bit, but this is probably one of the biggest years for NFL coaches that you could ever have, because we talk about it sometimes where, there's great offensive-minded coaches. Andy Reid being one of those guys. Obviously a Doug Peterson, a Sean McVay, a Sean Payton. We'll see what Kingsbury can bring to the table. And there's great defensive-minded guys as well. You got Bill Belichick and things like that. And, the X's and O's are great, man. But the job of a head coach, look at Pete Carroll, look at Andy Reid, look at Doug Peterson, look at Harbaugh. You have to build the culture, okay? And right now, building the culture, of course, it's still football related, but it's also obviously racial driven now as well, right? And I think you're going to find out a lot about what kind of coach you have leading your franchise and is how well he can get that locker room to respond, not only on the field, but how they conduct themselves in society this year. It's going to be a big year, and the spotlight, I think, is going to be on NFL head coaches.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Let's shift over to some football talk. Tim Tebow was on a call with CBS, Dan Mullen, and Urban Meyer also on there, and talking about, hey, if you had to give the football to one quarterback, one college quarterback, you had to go make a play, and obviously Tebow was having some fun with it, saying, well, I'm on the call, guys, but it was interesting context because of what happened with Reggie Bush, I thought, this week, where the disassociation part of the penalty, which quite frankly, I don't even really remember that. I remember the taking away the Heisman Trophy. I guess it makes sense. I just didn't realize that that's kind of part of it. When all the penalties came down for USC and Bush was stripped of everything, USC was penalized that they couldn't even be married together at all. Well, now that's ended. They can. Welcome back. Welcome to. It's kind of a stupid part of it, right?
I mean, it's so stupid. Okay, take the Heisman away. Okay, say he's not part of USC. Dude, unless you have one of those things from Men in Black that can erase my memory, Reggie Bush will always be a Heisman Trophy winner to me.
Yeah.
Reggie Bush will always be a member of the USC Trojans to me. So you're not really doing anything by saying, oh, he's off the books, he lost his Heisman Trophy. You're just not.
But bigger than that, it's almost like, hey, yeah, you can't walk on campus.
Yeah, I mean,
it seems so stupid.
I know.
It's so dumb. You can't. In reality, how about from this standpoint? You're telling me over the last 10 years, Reggie Bush maybe didn't learn what did go wrong or could have been a great example for USC football players on a Zoom call now or wherever else to say, hey, I'm going to talk to your football team every year about what happens, the decisions you make, all those kind of things.
Again, he would have been a great ambassador.
He could have been, right? Yeah. Well, now he can still be. It's not like he's 85 years old. I mean, he could still be at that point too. But hey, he's got a lot of life to live and he's had a lot of experiences. He can now be. I just thought that part was interesting. I guess I never really pieced it together, the disassociation, if you will. How good in your mind do you remember Reggie Bush? And the reason I ask that is because if you talk to people that love college football and they see Reggie Bush, they are like, here's my read on. I told you this the other day. I feel like they're over dramatic about Reggie Bush. Reggie Bush was unbelievable.
No. Yeah.
He was fantastic.
Yeah.
He really was. But my example to you was, if you show me video of Herschel Walker in college with Georgia, and I've seen it, and I didn't live it. I was 3 and 4 and 5 years old.
I'm just glad this isn't a racial thing like with Bird and everything and Jordan, because if you would have said Larry Zonka, I'd have been like, okay, I'm definitely raising the red flag.
Don't do that to me right now.
I'm kidding, dude. I'm messing with you, man. We're having some fun.
But Herschel Walker, I look at those highlights and I'm like, holy cow.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, that is unbelievable. It just looks like that is like Tecmo Bowl with Bo Jackson.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, that's what Herschel Walker looks like when you watch a run. It's unbelievable. And again, I watched Reggie Bush. I mean, he was tremendous. But I also feel like I've seen guys smooth. I feel like I've seen him juke around. Maybe I kind of melded it together in my mind with like a Barry Sanders. I mean, so brilliant, Barry Sanders, Yeah. You're going to tell me Reggie Bush was better than what I saw there? And I understand it's college to the NFL. I just feel like it's over-dramatized sometimes how good Reggie Bush was. Am I losing my mind?
You losing your mind. And I'm going to tell you where I'm coming from here. And this is a story that I haven't really shared. I've told you part of the story, but I haven't shared the whole story.
Yeah. Tell everybody this, too. Well, don't tell everybody the whole story.
No. So, listen, well, first of all, let's start from my childhood, right? Where it would have been my high school years when Reggie Bush was the dude, okay? And when I say he was the dude, he was the dude. Because, Brent, you have to remember the landscape at the time back in 2006, okay, back in 2005. It was kind of the creation of YouTube, okay? YouTube videos and highlight videos are still kind of, in their infancy. One of the very first things I ever remember watching on YouTube, there's a couple things. Number one, it was the haircut video. But the second thing I watched was a Reggie Bush highlight film because it was that crazy. Now, No disrespect.
Go back to the haircut video.
Yeah, my new haircut. Have you ever seen that?
No.
My new haircut. Cause you know what I'm talking about with like the Italian dude, where he's like, I forgot what it's even called, but literally it's like this Italian. It's like a Jersey Shore guy, right? And he's lifting weights and stuff. And yeah. Chicks love my new haircut.
That was your first video.
That was like my first video I ever
Reggie
saw.
Bush, sorry, you were second.
Yeah, but my point is, listen, no disrespect to Herschel Walker, okay? But I didn't see highlight films of Herschel Walker growing up, okay, or when I was in high school. I saw highlight films of Reggie Bush. So off the get-go, he already had an advantage because he was like this YouTube darling, if you will. And then you remember just the highlights, the nonstop highlights. This guy rocking number 5 at running back. Like, it was just everything he did. It seemed like it was fresh, it was innovative, and it was exciting. I forgot what game it was, but I remember like this screenshot of him or like this still of him where he jumps in the end zone and he's literally like sideways. Like he's sideways, and then he like lands on his feet.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense, right? So to me, that was like my introduction to Reggie Bush. And then I always said like, yeah, he's probably the best college football player of all time just because so much nostalgia comes when you mention that name. All right, now let's fast forward. I get cut from the Jacksonville Jaguars back in 2013. Go to the Chiefs, have a cup of coffee with Andy Reid. We had some fried food. It was fantastic. Thanks for the memories, Andy Reid. Well, then after that, I go to Detroit. Now, at the time, on the Detroit Lions, you know, you saw Kelvin Johnson, and you also had Reggie Bush. And I'll never forget. And listen, I've never really been starstruck in my entire life playing in the NFL. One time with Peyton Manning when he called out my name during that audible we've talked about before. One time, obviously, with Aaron Rodgers because I was playing at Lambeau Field and it's Aaron Rodgers. And the other time that I was starstruck was, and keep in mind, this is Kelvin Johnson I'm sitting next to now. My locker is right next to Kelvin Johnson.
That's unbelievable in itself.
This is a future Hall of Famer, right? Let's be honest. Future, probably first ballot Hall of Famer.
Megatron.
One of the best wide receivers of all time. And guess what? One of the nicest dudes of all time. I get in the locker room right away. Hey, man, do you need some cleats? I got some cleats for you if you want some. You see my signature cleats, by the way. He had signature cleats, and every cleat had a transform that came with it. I mean, how balling could you possibly be? But he's like, hey, where are you staying at? You need a place to crash at? Let me know, man. Keep me posted. So Calvin Johnson, not only a future Hall of Famer, but one of the nicest guys you're ever going to meet. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. That's Calvin Johnson. But mine wasn't on Calvin Johnson. With all due respect to Calvin Johnson. I look across from me, oh, snap, it's Reggie Bush. And, like, that's where my mind went. I'm sitting next to a Hall of Famer, sure ballot, probably first ballot Hall of Famer, and I look across from me, I'm like, oh, it's Reggie Bush. He dated Kim Kardashian. He played for the USC Trojans, Heisman winner, dude. The highlight films on YouTube, like, this dude's got it all. And he's sitting right in front of me. And, yeah, he's a good-looking dude, spoiler alert. I was like, dang, that's Reggie Bush right there. So, like, that, like, dude, I was starstruck.
That's wild.
Not only from his accolades of dating women, but from his accolades of playing at USC. I mean, like, it's just, it shaped my childhood that much where it's like we're witnessing an alien in college. We're witnessing a guy that's not even human with some of the things that he's able to do.
Here's what he did his senior year or his junior year at USC.
Hit me with it.
200 rushing attempts, 1,740 yards, 8.7 yards per carry, 16 touchdowns, another 478 yards receiving, 2 more touchdowns. So 18 touchdowns in all that year when he won the Heisman Trophy. I'm with you. They can take the Heisman Trophy and all that stuff away. I view him as a Heisman Trophy winner. I think most people do. I mean, again, one of the all-time greats in college football for that season.
Yeah.
Is what people say about Reggie Bush, and that is etched in their minds, almost to the point where, like, how hard was it for him in the NFL to live up to? You know, I mean, the hype was way too strong for him to actually live up to. And you know what's funny about Reggie Bush? He had, I think if you ask people about his NFL career, been like, it wasn't. He had a longer career, a more productive career. And then people would sign up for this career in a heartbeat. But it's almost because the pedestal had been put on that pedestal, the expectation, that year coming off the Heisman Trophy, all that stuff.
Yeah.
That he could have had 15,000 yards, and it almost wouldn't have been enough.
Without a doubt. Keep in mind how it went down, too, right? He was going to New Orleans, where obviously New Orleans had Ricky Williams at the time, one of the best college running backs. And then, years down the pipe, then they take Reggie Bush, I think, with the number 2 overall pick it would have been. I forgot who went number 1 that year, but I recall Reggie Bush being number 2. But
I'll look it up for you.
Listen, when we talk about the greatest college players of all time, and yeah, there's a lot of them out there. You can make an argument for a bunch of guys, right? Tim Tebow, obviously, you can mention. I mean, if you want to go to numbers, maybe like Johnny Manziel, whatever you want to say. But to me, like, what makes a great college football player and what puts him in the history books of arguably the best of all time is how much of a game changer he really was, okay? Herschel Walker, great running back. Can't tell me differently. One of the best running backs to ever do it. But do you remember how Reggie Bush went about his business? Because you have to think back to the clocks back in 2003, 2004, 2005 when he played for the USC Trojans, all right? The Alvin Kamaras, okay? The Saquon Barkleys, the Ezekiel Elliott's, they weren't really a thing. And when I say they weren't a thing, the dual threat running back, the guy that can catch the ball and also run with the ball. Those were diamonds in the rough. No one was doing that. Reggie Bush was doing that. Oh, what's this? Reggie Bush going in motion, lining up in the slot? Excuse me? You never saw that back then. Like, to me, that's why it's such a game changer, because the preconceived notion that you had about the running back position, Reggie Bush said, oh, very cool. Hold my motion, hold my cleats, and see what I do here. Like, that's why he's such an influential part of the college football game, I believe.
By the way, Mario Williams, number 1 that year.
That's right.
Made a lot of money in the NFL. And, what you said right there is interesting, because if you go back to his college days, we're talking 2003, 4, 5, he ran 4.3. Like 4.33 is what I've seen. Mm-hmm. And so nowadays, again, I always use like Ty as an example, right? 15-year-old Ty is watching the combine. He's like, hey, everybody's running 4.3, 4.3, 4.4, 4.3, 4.4, 4.4, 4.2, 4.3, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And by the way, I know not everybody's running 4.3, but you get my point.
Yep.
2003, 4, 5, guys didn't run 4.3.
No.
I'm not saying it hadn't been done, but guys didn't run 4.3. And much like Chris Johnson, running backs didn't run 4.3.
Correct.
Yeah. Because you're looking at more guys running over people and through people and stuff like that. So I think even in that respect, he was a game changer. What I don't remember, and you guys would know this better than me, was he part of a video game that kind of put him in a different stratosphere?
Yeah. I mean,
did that help his popularity? Like, was it? What was it? What's the old college football?
2014
would have been NCAA. 2014.
The last college.
Well, that would have been the last one, but would have been like early renditions of that would have featured like Reggie Bush. Did that help his kind of folk hero status, I guess, is my point.
And keep in mind how it used to work. And I can't remember if he was on he was. NCAA 2007. Here it is right here, Brent. Check him out.
So he was. See, I thought.
Who's that dude right there?
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
Reggie Bush.
Because that usually elevates somebody.
He had the eye black thing too, which was, hey, Tim Tebow, John 3:16, go and take a hike. Reggie Bush did it way before you were.
Wait a minute, 2007, Tebow did it in 06.
Oh, okay, well, no, but I'm saying back in 2004.
Here you go, you got me. I got to defend Tebow. I'm waiting for you, Tim.
I'm just saying, who did it first, Reggie Bush or Tim Tebow? I think Reggie Bush did it first with the eye black writing on it.
I don't know.
Okay, well, regardless of that, Tim
Reggie,
Tebow,
call in, let us know.
With all due respect, I'm not trying to hate on John 16. Great Bible verse, okay? Not trying to go down that route right now. But once again, like, another thing that you can add is just the guy did something differently, right? And NCAA 2007 and those football games, they were big, Brent. You know why? Because they even had Murray State. They had the D1AA schools on those games. Now, but here was the key about it. They couldn't obviously put the player's name in the video game, right?
True.
Because you know how that whole thing went down.
That's a whole little ban.
But like, it was so obvious, right? Because, number 5 for USC's in the backfield, and there's a giant star around him, and he's blinking. What's up, Reggie Bush? You know, like, you didn't do anybody any favors by not putting their name in the game. But, like, yeah, absolutely. I think the video game definitely made a difference for Reggie Bush.
That's pretty wild. Reggie Bush, by the way, starstruck once again. Reggie Bush in the Detroit locker room, Lambeau Field, and what was the other one? Manning.
Manning, yeah. When he called out my name during the audible.
And an audible.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I like that. That's a good 3. Yep. Kuz, by the way, every break we go to, you're talking about PS5, and you're giddy about it. What's going on?
They're just doing announcement stuff.
Oh. I don't know which one he's more giddy about, that or a Taylor Swift album dropping.
Definitely PS5.
Could you imagine, though, Taylor Swift album dropping and PS5 announcement the same day?
Oh.
Twitter's shutting down.
Hey, an hour to go and a lot to get to here on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Talk a little NBA players. Could we see a rift coming? MLB says 100% we're playing. Take that. We'll have some baseball this summer. It's next on ESPN 690. Hey everyone, this is Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Hope you catch the show Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. on 10 different platforms. But if you missed the show, you missed this. Dana White with us, president of the UFC.
You don't realize how much you miss live sports. I'd even watch golf right now.
Oh, Dana, don't say that, man. I have to talk about golf like twice a week on the show.
Subscribe to the podcast and check the show out on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Get the podcast daily. All you have to do is search ESPN 690 in your podcast app. Nobody wants tax problems, and lives have certainly changed in the last couple of months. So let me tell you about J. David Tax Law. They are here to help you and your business with tax debt issues during the pandemic. Tax problems can be stressful, especially right now. If you owe a tax debt, there are new programs available that can help reduce or eliminate your IRS or sales tax burden. But here's the deal. The programs expire on July 15th, so don't wait. That's coming soon. Get the help you need with tax debt, payroll taxes, bank levies, wage garnishments, tax liens, and unfiled returns. With stimulus packages being distributed, the IRS will be collecting an unprecedented amount of tax debt to fund this historic initiative. J. David Tax Law only has experienced tax attorneys that will represent you. You want to be able to walk in and talk to someone and look them right in the eye when it comes to your taxes. J. David Tax Law is someone you can trust. If you have federal or state sales tax debt, have a sit down with J. David Tax Law. Your first step is a no-cost consultation. Call J. David Tax Law 904-507-4777, 904-507-4777, or go to jdavidtaxlaw.com.
Beards Diamonds has been busy the last few weeks, preparing their showcases for the largest inventory of wedding bands in North Florida.
So if you're getting married soon or just want to update your bands, you don't want to miss Beards Diamonds' spectacular wedding band sale.
Now through this Sunday, buy any ladies' wedding band and get the men's band free.
Yes, free, and only at Beards Diamonds. But hurry, this sale ends this Sunday.
Beards Diamonds has brought in extra inventory just for the sale.
All stackable, all right-hand rings, all eternity bands, and wedding bands.
The largest selection of men's and women's wedding bands in North Florida, all at the guaranteed lowest price.
It's the buy one, get one sales event of the summer.
Buy any ladies' wedding band and get the men's band free.
Going on now through Sunday, only at Beards Diamonds.
Where exceptional is affordable.
Beards Diamonds at the St. John's Town Center.
Or at beardsdiamonds.com.
Boss, check out this headline in the Crooks R Us newsletter. Big Blue Alarm now allowing contact center employees to work from home.
Whoa, all of them?
Not quite. Says 88% of Big Blue employees are working from home.
Wonder if their customers know that the people monitoring their alarm are probably sitting at the kitchen table in their underwear.
Hey, maybe that's one of the reasons Big Blue doesn't have a guaranteed response.
That is an excellent point. Too bad Safe Touch Security isn't more like Big Blue Alarm.
Wishful thinking, boss. Listen to this. Safe Touch Security still leads the way with the fastest response time in the industry. Boss, how do they do it?
Doesn't matter. We still gotta stick to the Crooks R Us motto. Stay away from Safe Touch houses. Do that and we'll be fine.
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
Hi, I'm Dr. Nia Hurd-Garris with today's tip for kids from the American Academy of Pediatrics. Toddlers can be very curious about water. That's why drowning is the #1 cause of injury-related deaths for children ages 1 to 4. But drowning is preventable. Plan layers of protection, a fence that surrounds the pool, and swimming lessons when your child is ready. When your child is near water, an adult should always be within an arm's reach to supervise. For more, talk to your pediatrician and visit healthychildren.org.
Now more than ever, you need the open road. Windows down, wind in your hair, pure freedom. Then go see our friends over at Arlington Toyota, because their massive construction sale was made to put you behind the wheel today. Think you can't afford a new ride? Think again. At Arlington, you choose 0 down with low payments or no payments until 2021. Get to Arlington today where you can drive away in a Toyota RAV4 XLE for $285 a month with 0 down or no payments until 2021. That's a pre-owned RAV4 for $285 a month with 0 down or no payments till 2021. 2021. How about a Toyota Tacoma for $285 a month with 0 down or no payments until 2021? We're talking about a pre-owned Tacoma for $285 a month with 0 down or no payments till 2021. Plus, with Arlington's Credit for Everyone program, if your Beacon score is from 450 to 850, Arlington's getting almost everyone approved. And you get Arlington's 30-day exchange policy on any vehicle you purchase. As always, your safety is Arlington's priority. Go see them today, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit Arlington Toyota /June offers for full details.
I call them 3 shirt days. That's when the summer heat in Jacksonville just sizzles. It's relentless, and you want to be prepared for it. Bold City Heating and Air will help you do that. Nothing worse than sweating in your own home and wondering, hey, what happened to the AC? We've been there before. Your air conditioning unit needs to be ready for the heat. It might need to get serviced. The hot weather is here, and Bold City Heating and Air is here for you, just like they have been for my family the last couple of years. Right now, it's $25 off an annual maintenance. Bold City will thoroughly service, clean, and test your system to ensure it is working efficiently. Then you'll be comfortable this summer, all summer. After the $25 off, it's just $70. Book your maintenance service now and save. Save now, beat the heat. Visit boldcityac.com or call 904-379-1648 to schedule. Mirza and his staff are ready to take care of you and your family. Be bold and beat the heat and make it a one-shirt day, even in the summer heat. Go to boldcityac.com.
It's time for some straight talk. Even though most live sports are on hold now, big wireless companies haven't stopped playing games. They're always trying to lock you into overpriced contracts. With Straight Talk Wireless, there are no contracts. It runs on America's best network, same as the big carriers, but you save up to 50%. $45 a month gets you the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data, then 2G. You might miss sports, but don't play games, you'll lose. Straight Talk Wireless. No contracts, no compromise.
Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
From faulty breakers to broken windows to leaky pipes, roofs, and water heaters, homes and businesses around the country can't work until the pros do. That's why Lowe's created credit programs that work for pros. With everyday 5% savings on eligible purchases, plus through October 31st, 60 days promotional financing on your Lowe's business account or extended terms on eligible account receivables. Learn more in-store or online at lowesforpros.com. Putting money back in your pocket. Just one more reason Lowe's is the new home for pros. Subject to credit approval, U.S. only.
The Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugats. Judge Judy is set to end after the show's 25th season, but that doesn't mean Judge Judy is going away. The Mega Millionaire syndication queen will begin production on a new show called Judy Justice.
Oh, you know who made the decision? Viacom. They're clearing her off the books to make room for Romo. It's a good guess.
Half face. You want more from the Dan Le Batard Show? Check out the podcast, wherever you get your podcast.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station. Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
That's not fair to ask them. I'm on the call with them. That's not fair to do to them. That's so harsh. That's terrible.
I'll answer that. Is that it actually happened. In 2008, Ahmad Black made a great interception against Oklahoma, and we're up by 3 points against Sam Bradford, arguably one of the greatest offenses of all time. And I called everybody up, and there was 7 minutes and 40 seconds, whatever it was, left on the clock, and I had them all getting real close to me. And I had my arm around Tim, and I had him, I said, guys, turn around and look at the clock. And we all turned around together, and I said, if we can somehow control this clock and go down and score, you're the champions of college football. At that moment, who else would you want? I'm very biased. I know he's on the call, but he's the best college football player of all time.
That is Urban Meyer talking about Tim Tebow. They were on a call together with Dan Mullen. I guess if the guy's right in the room, you have to say it.
Oh, of course.
I think those two guys, Dan Mullen and Urban Meyer, probably fully believe it. Now, listen, Dak Prescott did some great things for Dan Mullen at Mississippi State. Really led them to heights that they had not been, and was really, really good. Is Tebow's in the conversation. I mean, look what he did. His numbers are unbelievable. 2 national championships. Like we just talked about Reggie Bush. And obviously the eye test says, man, Reggie's right there. But he didn't have the longevity of that. Like he did it for a year. Yeah. You know, he played 3 years, but I mean, he did it like that at that level for 3 years. Now, Tim, obviously, first year, he split time with Chris Leak, but still, most people would say Gators ain't winning a national championship without Tim Tebow. And then obviously wins the Heisman Trophy and comes back, wins a national title. You know, there's the legend of Tebow is so strong because of, you know, his powerful statement after the loss to Ole Miss, the promise, all those things. I mean, you add it all up, and it's hard to be as dynamic. Although, again, I mean, Georgia fans will sit here and tell me all the stats of Herschel Walker, and there have been greats and greats. Archie Manning. Archie Griffin is really who I was thinking initially. Then Manning came out, but even Archie Manning. But Archie Griffin, 2-time Heisman winner. He's not alone, but he's in the conversation. There's no doubt.
Yeah. And see, once again, so I go back to the Reggie Bush USC days and the offensive juggernaut that they were. Obviously, they had Matt Leinart at quarterback. I mean, he was good in his own right, too. But, like, when you think about, I guess, just dynamic guys, you know, maybe like a dual threat quarterback, because we always talk about we always talk about what now. You know, it's like the dual threat quarterback, the Patrick Mahomes, the Russell Wilsons. Well, Vince Young. You know, to lead the Texas Longhorns in that national championship game. I remember exactly where I was. Too. Exactly. I mean, where does Vince Young rank on that kind of list? I mean, and I get it was really just 1 year, right, where that kind of sticks out to you. But in terms of, you know, I guess a college football season, I mean, where is Vince Young ranked?
I think that's why so many of these guys, if you think about college football and you think about these names, you think about them for a season or for a moment. Like even Vince Young, I would say, okay, every Saturday was I like, man, I can't wait to watch Vince Young. I don't know, but I remember that championship game, man. And I'm not saying that was his only moment. He was obviously more brilliant than that all year long. Go look at the numbers. Go look at everything else. But I just, without that game, without that championship, I would not even have this bring up his name in this conversation. Yeah. So to me, he's more of, wow, what a moment guy. Definitely at the very most, what a season guy. And I think people fall into that.
True. But to me, I mean, the championship says something too, right? Like, I mean, Tim Tebow's career was built off winning those national championships.
Absolutely.
Okay, like
you wouldn't put him in the conversation without him.
Exactly. I can sit here and spew out Johnny Manziel's numbers, but that guy never went to a national championship. So I don't consider him, you know, as one of the greats. But Vince Young, I do, because he did it on the grandest of stages.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a good call, because to me, Johnny Manziel will be and go down as one of the most electrifying, exciting college players of all time. I don't know, to your point, if I would say he's in the conversation as one of the greats of all time. There's a difference for me in that.
Sure.
You know, there's a difference in me saying, hey, this guy belongs, you know, in the conversation for greatest of all time, and this guy is electrifying and fun to watch and awesome.
Yeah.
You know, listen, Michael Vick is one of the most electrifying athletes to ever play in the NFL, but nobody's putting him in the conversation as one of the greatest of all time.
Played a national championship, but didn't win it, though, I don't think, right?
No, but I'm talking even in the NFL.
Yeah, I got
in the NFL, nobody's putting him in the conversation with the GOATs of the position, even though he might be the most electrifying player to play the game.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So I just feel like there's a difference there.
Yeah.
Like I would even say, like right now, even go to baseball, okay? Javi Baez to me, Ronald Acuna to me. Now you could put them closing in on the category of greats in the game. Like I think hands down, Mike Trout's the best player in the game. Most electrifying player in the game to me is Javi Baez. Some would say Ronald Acuna.
Sure.
But they're not the greatest player in the game right now.
No, but the flashy man,
you know,
people talk about him.
My point being, there's a difference.
Good point.
And I think in sports there are differences. In that.
So maybe, you know, Tim Tebow is more of the meat and potatoes, but you can't knock the national championships. You can't knock the success. You can't knock the accolades. I mean, Tim Tebow deserves to be up in that conversation for sure.
Yeah, and everybody's going to have their own metrics and conversation, but he's got the resume to unequivocally be in the conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, he has to be in the conversation for everything, by the way, that he was off the field to on the field to the big moments of speeches and everything else. I think that factors in. You
Absolutely.
know, and Heisman trophies and how many times he went to New York and all the championship rings. And by the way, the dynamic that I don't think Tim gets enough credit for, and I still am waiting for the 30 for 30 for someday, is the dynamic in that locker room.
Oh, yeah.
I mean.
Oh, I've heard. Listen, I've talked to Brandon Spikes about it. Okay.
I mean, but that is a cast of characters.
Sure.
Of, who knows what they were like for those couple years, but we've heard the stories out of Gainesville anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But what people became, started to know them for, some of their experiences after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Aaron Hernandez comes mostly to mind. But he's not alone. That's the point.
Yeah.
He's alone in that category.
Sure.
But it was just a.
I mean, you got Percy Harvin had his whole ordeal. Riley Cooper kind of had his whole ordeal. I mean,
Pouncey brothers have had theirs.
Brothers, yeah.
Listen, I think again, we talk about with The Last Dance, and I don't know if we brought this up a lot because I think a lot of people are doing it. But it's like, okay, what would you see? What would you want to see next, right? We said even in Jacksonville, we'd like to see 2017 Saxonville. What happened? That's where did it go? What happened to it? Blah, blah, blah. 2035, I've already got my handprints on that documentary. But I think bigger than that, I would be absolutely fascinated with the dynamic of Tim Tebow and the image of Tim Tebow and who Tim Tebow was as a player and person and all that stuff. And the rest of the locker room and the rest of what was going on. And much like even in New England, Tom Brady and Aaron Hernandez was in that locker room. Mm-hmm. And by the way, this is not just an Aaron Hernandez thing, though. That's what makes, I think, Florida so unique. And you had kind of that image of Tebow and his great play to kind of put a cover over what was going on behind the scenes.
Sure.
Which I think everybody knows now became relevant because they brought in Muschamp to clean the damn thing up. I mean, that's what they did at Florida. So it is what it is. We don't know the details, but someday I hope we do. To me, that will be a fascinating documentary if somebody's able to pull it off.
And one of the biggest things that I want to know from that documentary is exactly how much influence Tim Tebow actually had on the team. We know what Tim Tebow brought to a nation, right? And we know what Tim Tebow brought to the fan base. But I've told this story before. And, when it was Brandon Spikes, myself, and Tim Tebow on a shuttle bus going from the airport, from the Buffalo airport to the stadium, Brandon Spikes would say over and over again, like, listen, this was the defense's team. All right. That was my team, Timmy. Wasn't your team. And like at first I thought he was joking. But you could kind of tell from the demeanor in his voice and the passion coming out of him. And keep in mind, I mean, I'm along for the ride. I'm not interjecting here. I'm like, I went to Murray State, dude. What do you want me to say? But like hearing him go back and forth, I think there is some thought that, Brandon Spikes and guys in that defense, that was their team. And it necessarily wasn't really Tim's team. Now, yes, we're reminded, obviously, of those press conferences, Tim crying, and saying, you'll never see a college football player work hard. And that was great and everything. And I'm sure the players were inspired by that. But that's what I want to know. I want to know, this man of faith, this kind of outlier in this locker room. Let's be honest here. How much influence did he really have on the Florida Gators?
Yeah, I think some of it's natural with the position, right? Quarterback.
Of course.
He obviously was the face of it, along with Urban Meyer,
sure,
because the quarterback goes out and talks, and he was willing to do so. Mm-hmm. And quite frankly, with what we now know what went on there at times, I think they probably were afraid to put some other people up in front of him, Mike.
Better believe it, man.
It's a good question. It's a fascinating question. Mm-hmm. You've been in a lot of locker rooms. Sometimes, I'm trying to think of the teams, is there more influence from other players than the people that are perceived to be the face of
without a doubt
the locker room?
Without a doubt. 2010, perfect example, Daryl Smith. Daryl Smith's personality, his thumbprint was all over not only that defense, but that team. Daryl Smith was never the guy that's going to give you the sound bites in the interviews.
Yeah.
But Daryl Smith was that guy, okay? And I think you could argue David Garrard was obviously that guy too as well and everything. Don't get it twisted. But Daryl Smith was
not
just
to take anything away from
I'm not taking it.
But
exactly.
He was obviously the face because he's the quarterback.
But I'm talking about behind the scenes. The passion, the brotherhood, that all stemmed from guys like Daryl Smith and even like a Rasheed Mathis.
There you go.
Yeah,
that's a good call.
Rasheed Mathis too. Same personality type.
Great examples, right? So that's a good point. So it does happen. Mm-hmm. And I don't even know how you really quantify it. I guess it's like, okay, if Rasheed Mathis and or Daryl Smith
mm-hmm.
in 2010 said, hey, we're going to go do this.
Mm-hmm.
And Garrard, who was the face of it and still a leader in that room and respected that room, said, hey, we're going to go do this. Is the locker room split? Are more people following Rasheen and Daryl Smith? Are more people following Garrard? I don't know how to quantify it. I guess that would be kind of the only way I would say that, but I don't even know if that's correct.
Gonna tell you a real quick story here. I think this was 2011, if I'm not mistaken. Might have been 2012. But it got to the point during the middle of the season where guys were kind of fed up with losing, all right? And we weren't having a good year, and we weren't reaching expectations. And team morale was at an all-time low. And there was a thought that we would throw, because it was a Wednesday practice, and it was probably like week 10, week 11 in the season. Usually during that time, you take the pads off, Brent, you just go in the helmets. Well, there was a thought that, man, we're going full pads right now. We're like in week 10, week 11. What are we doing? We're not even playoff eligible, and we're still practicing in full pads. And there was a lot of frustration in that locker room. And guys threatened to throw their shoulder pads in the middle of the room and say, we're not going to go out there and practice in pads. We're done. We're going to go out there in helmets, let the coaches say something. We're in this together. And a couple guys said, no, that's not what we do, okay? And I distinctly remember one of those guys being Daryl Smith. Daryl Smith was like I said, Daryl Smith was never the guy that was going to give you the rah-rah speech. And he was never going to get you motivated. But when he stands up and says, no, we're not doing that, guess what? The 40 guys in the locker room that threw their shoulder pads in the middle, they brought him back out and be like, all right, you're right, let's go. And then that was that. And it's just those types of things that maybe you don't really hear about until I spill them. But it's those types of influences that those players can have.
That's a great call. It's a great example of it. I think it's a fascinating discussion, right? Right now we would say what? Gardner Minshew is the face of this franchise?
Sure.
Fair enough.
I mean, yeah, face for sure, because he's getting the most attention. And deservedly so. He's the quarterback, obviously. He's got a great story, and he had a rookie year. So, yeah, he's the face of the franchise.
But I would also say, because he's a young guy, I would question to say he has the most influence and impact inside the locker room.
Correct.
Heck, that could be Avery Jones.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Right? That might be Brandon Linder. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a little different because you're talking to a young guy. Like the scenario we were playing out, whether it's in college or because Tebow is how this kind of got brought up, but also in 2010, Garrard had been playing in the league for a while. He was a veteran. Smith, veteran. Rasheen's veteran at that point. So it's a little bit unique. I would say in Green Bay, my perception, Aaron Rodgers has the most influence in that locker room and impact in that locker room.
Correct.
I can't imagine somebody else does have more than him.
Yeah, I don't think so. It's definitely Aaron Rodgers.
Now, over the years at all, was there a time when Clay Matthews had just as much? I don't know.
It's a possibility. It's one of those things.
I don't know if it's an offense-defense thing too. Maybe.
Yeah, it could be. But and like you mentioned, a great point with Avery Jones. Avery Jones, you go out in the community. He's probably not. With all due respect to Avery Jones, you owe me $50. It is what it is. Let's go ahead and pay that up anytime now, Avery. But
by the way, when we do our 2-year anniversary of the show, we'll ask how many times has Austin mentioned that on the show.
Hey, you know what?
That will be the grand prize giveaway.
Do you know what, Brett? Not enough. Okay,
because you still don't have it.
I still don't have my money in my pocket. Okay. Anyways, I'm so upset though. Okay, when I brought up last time to his face, he goes, "Go talk to Skip." What is Skip gonna do? Skip's not gonna do anything. So whatever. Okay, sorry. We're getting
you
sidetracked.
Can't not mention Avery Jones without bringing up your $50. You have an issue with this.
Well, when you have it on footage, all right. When you go on YouTube and type in Austin Lane A6 video, and you see Avery Jones on camera on microphone say, "I'll pay you some money if you do this jump," and I did it. Hey, what do you want me to tell you, Brent? Okay,
show me the dough.
But anyways. It's interesting because you asked, for the Green Bay Packers, for instance, Aaron Rodgers has always been the guy. And you brought up a guy like Avery Jones, who he's kind of like, he's a quiet dude, right? And he plays a position it's a thankless job, to say the least, right? Playing that nose technique, Brent, you're taking on double teams the whole time. Yeah, maybe every once in a blue moon you get a sack and you can celebrate, but what they ask Avery Jones to do, it's a thankless job. And because of that, it's not like Avery Jones jerseys are flying off the shelves just because, people don't take note of just what that guy can do on a football field. It is what it is. Kind of like the Tyson Alualu effect, I always say. But with the Green Bay Packers, to me, John Kuhn was a guy, fullback, who I think was super respected in that locker room. For instance, Kansas City Chiefs. I talked about him when we're in Miami. Their fullback, okay, Anthony Sherman, I think is one of those guys in that locker room because he's tenured, but also what he does. He's not the most flashy guy, but he does all the dirty work. And sometimes the guys that can do all the dirty work are the guys that are praised the most in locker rooms, because it's not like the outside world where we see a fullback and it's like, okay, I see him out there. I don't really know what he's doing, whatever. But like when you're breaking down film and you're watching film, I guarantee Andy Reid every single time they have a rushing touchdown is praising Anthony Sherman, saying, look what Anthony Sherman did in this play. Look what he did in this play. And it was kind of the same thing for like a Darryl Smith as well, where we'd be watching team film and Jack Del Rio would be like, all right, let's rewind it back quick. Let's really watch Darryl Smith right here and watch what he does. And, like, that's where the respect kind of grew. That's where it was like, dang, I didn't even know Darryl, because obviously I'm playing on the field with him at the same time, but I didn't know Darryl Smith was doing that. I didn't know Darryl Smith was taking on a double team, splitting it, and then getting a tackle for loss. Damn. So it's those types of guys, those guys that go under the radar a little bit from the fans' perspective, but they mean the most in the locker room.
That's wild. It makes a lot of sense. I don't think we think of it that way. From outside, I think we were like, hey, Tim Tebow led him inside. He led him outside. You posed the question. Yeah, but were there other guys influential? I think, Tom Brady, it's been Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, man. Yeah, right. It had Ty Law, Richard Seymour, Teddy Bruschi. You don't think those guys?
Junior Seau was on that team. Remember?
You don't think those guys had impact on that room and maybe even at times more than Brady internally?
Of course.
I doubt it. Maybe more than Brady, but maybe early in his career. So it's an interesting point.
Well, and let's be honest. Like Russell Wilson was, I guess that's maybe a bad example because like the Legion of Boom was kind of the face of the franchise.
They were.
But then Russell Wilson comes in and, has his success, but it was still Richard Sherman.
A little bit, yeah.
It was still, everybody.
That
Cam
kind of
Chancellor.
faded, though.
It did.
As Russell Wilson's star rose.
Sure.
Now, who knows? But
I'm just saying internally, knowing Pete Carroll and the defensive-minded guy that he is, I guarantee guys like Cam Chancellor and Richard Sherman were the key cogs of that team.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Yeah.
Hey, a couple updates from the golf world. Charles Schwab Challenge, PGA Tour in Fort Worth, Texas, getting going. Justin Rose, 7 under to take the lead. Jonathan Vegas, Abraham Ancer, Harold Varner III. All tied for second, one shot back. A couple of big names that you might be looking for. Maybe you got some fantasy golf, or maybe you put a wager on it because you're that bored. I don't know. Austin, potentially.
I still have e-gaming to bet on, so I'm all right.
All right. Billy Horschel is tied for 23rd, 3 under. He's still out on the golf course. Jordan Spieth, 3 under. Jim Furyk, 3 under. Then you have some of the biggest group out there was Brooks Koepka, John Rahm, Rory McIlroy, all 2 under par in round 1 of the Charles Schwab Challenge out there in Fort Worth, Texas. The Corn Ferry Challenge is happening, and that's happening right at TPC's Dyes Valley course. There was some good scoring out there as well earlier today. I'm going to get you a leaderboard, and it's going to start with some names I probably don't know very well. Paul Barjon. Barjon?
Okay, Barjon.
French? Barjon? Yeah, French. So you got to say the J.
Barjane. Is it Barjane?
Barjon.
Is there an apostrophe after the N? Okay.
Nope, so Barjon.
Let's go with Barjon then.
Like a little Barjon.
Barjon. I like it. Yeah.
That was pretty good. I took French for a couple of years.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I took Spanish.
I did too after I took French.
Well,
because I couldn't figure out the French.
Fair enough.
Not that I could figure out the Spanish either very well, but I tried.
You're honest.
Tim Wilkinson, who lives in the Jacksonville area, 4 under. He's 2 shots back. That's the top. Eric Compton, that's a name you know. He's 2 shots back because there's a bunch of guys tied at 4 under, 2 shots back over there at Dyes Valley course. Competition will continue.
Cool.
A really emotional day for Camilo Villegas yesterday. He addressed the media and shared the story that his 20-month-old daughter, Mia, is battling cancer. It was 4 minutes, if you haven't checked it out, of Camilo Villegas talking about life and his daughter and how much she's an inspiration, why he's coming back out on the golf course. It was powerful, powerful stuff. So thoughts and prayers to the Villegas family. Of course, he started out, by the way, 3 of his first 4 holes, birdied them.
Wow.
Started really strong. And ends up having a pretty good day. He's 3 under par, 3 shots off the lead. So I think there's a lot of people right now pulling for the good energy and good thoughts for the Villegas family, no doubt about that. That will continue Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. No fans. And then World Golf Village will host the next event for the Corn Ferry Tour next week. But once again, no fans at that event as well. We're going to try to play something here coming up next. First time ever. like a mystery moment. We got to guess who's picks for a soundbite coming into the next segment.
I love games.
I want to try it. And also a thought or two on the NBA and the Major League NBA happening with players in Major League Baseball draft, which is happening tonight. It continues. It's next on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Hot and humid under partly sunny skies today with scattered showers and a few thunderstorms this afternoon, especially inland. Highs will be near 90. Partly cloudy tonight down in the low 70s and partly sunny for tomorrow and Saturday. Scattered mainly inland afternoon showers and thunderstorms each day and highs in the mid to upper 80s. From the First Alert Weather Center, I'm Action News Jax Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds Buy One, Get One wedding band sale through this Sunday at Beards Diamonds.
Okay, boss, here's the house. Been watching it all week.
And you're sure it only has a big blue alarm system?
Yep. That means we should have all the time we need.
Yeah, still can't believe Big Blue Alarm is allowing their employees to monitor alarm systems while they're working from home.
Yeah, let's see, how many times do I get distracted when I'm at my house?
Right? Well, let's just hope the Big Blue operator monitoring this house just started binge watching a TV show.
Meanwhile, right across the street, Safe Touch is still as steady as can be with the fastest guaranteed response time anywhere.
And that is why we're standing on the outside of the house with the Big Blue Alarm.
Just following the Crooks of Us motto, stay away from Safe Touch houses.
Yeah. All right, let's get busy.
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
For the ones we trust to always be there. For the ones caring for others. For the ones who keep things going, no matter where they are. In extraordinary times, extraordinary people step up, like the ones standing guard and standing on the front lines, and the ones who are staying apart while still working together. With your efforts, we will get through this. We're grateful for all you do. Visit Grainger.com for resources that can help as you create your recovery plan. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Did you know that you have the power to positively impact a local child's life? It's as easy as donating to Daniel, Florida's oldest child service agency. Daniel provides counseling to abused children. Daniel helps homeless teens find shelter and learn to live independently. Daniel connects kids with foster families and strengthens at-risk families so they can stay together. They've done all this and more for 135 years. Please become a part of improving the lives of local children and families by donating at danielkids.org today.
At Action News Jax, we tell a weather story that's really built just for you. Most of us have lives that take us out in the elements for work, for play, or just getting from point A to point B. And that means you need to be ready to get through your day.
I'm Action News Jax First Alert Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish. Our team of meteorologists didn't go to school just to read you temperatures. We do this so that the people that trust us know exactly what to expect today, tomorrow, and the next day.
Action News Jax First Alert Weather Team. We're here for severe.
Reliant Roofing, Solar, and Hurricane Shutters is pleased to announce its 4th annual Every Shingle Heart Initiative. This year, they will give a free roof to one healthcare worker or first responder in Northeast Florida. The individuals who've been making the ultimate sacrifice over the last several months during the COVID-19 pandemic. Reliant wants to return the favor to someone in these fields. To nominate someone, you can visit their website, reliantroofing.com/Every Shingle Heart. Nominations will open June 15th until July 31st. The recipient chosen will be announced on August 15th, 2020.
I call them 3 shirt days. That's when the summer heat in Jacksonville just sizzles. It's relentless, and you want to be prepared for it. Bold City Heating and Air will help you do that. Nothing worse than sweating in your own home and wondering, hey, what happened to the AC? We've been there before. Your air conditioning unit needs to be ready for the heat. It might need to get serviced. The hot weather is here, and Bold City Heating and Air is here for you, just like they have been for my family the last couple of years. Right now, it's $25 off an annual maintenance. Bold City will thoroughly service, clean, and test your system to ensure it is working efficiently. Then you'll be comfortable this summer, all summer. After the $25 off, it's just $70. Book your maintenance service now and save. Save now, beat the heat. Visit boldcityac.com or call 904-379-1648 to schedule. Mirza and his staff are ready to take care of you and your family. Be bold and beat the heat and make it a one-shirt day, even in the summer heat. Go to boldcityac.com.
Now more than ever, you need the open road. Windows down, wind in your hair, pure freedom. Then go see our friends over at Arlington Toyota, because their massive construction sale was made to put you behind the wheel today. Think you can't afford a new ride? Think again. At Arlington, you choose 0 down with low payments or no payments until 2021. Get into Arlington today where you can drive away in a new Toyota Corolla for $199 a month with 0 down or no payments till 2021. That's a pre-owned Corolla for $199 down with 0 down or no payments until 2021. How about a Toyota Camry for $249 a month with 0 down or no payments till 2021? That's a pre-owned Camry for $249 a month with nothing down or no payments till 2021. Plus, with Arlington's Credit for Everyone program, if your Beacon score is from 450 to 850, Arlington's getting almost everyone approved. And you get Arlington's 30-day exchange policy on any vehicle you purchase. As always, your safety is Arlington's priority. Go see them today, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit Arlington Toyota/June offers for full details.
It's sale time at your neighborhood Ace with cool gifts for Dad, like grills by Weber and Traeger or Big Green Eggs, and lots of items from Yeti. Ace Wild Bird Food in the 20-pound bag, 2 for $10. Air filters, various sizes, buy 2, get 1 free. Get liquid chlorine in the 1-gallon jug for just $2.99. Pool shock treatments in 1-pound bags, 3 for $10. Find more great deals in the location nearest you at acehardware.com. Sale ends June 22nd.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
This message is brought to you by Community First Credit Union.
Well, it's been a difficult few weeks, to say the least. But now, as we move towards reopening and getting back to work, let's not forget what we've experienced and what we've learned. That we are one city, one community. And staying safe is what matters now. So let's look out for each other, and we'll get through this to a better, brighter future in Jacksonville.
Federally insured by NCUA.
One-to-One Financial is Jacksonville's hometown credit union, and we've been helping people improve their lives and start businesses in this community for more than 85 years, longer than any other local institution. Like our name says, we work one-to-one with everyone, no matter their background, and we offer the best rates on loans and savings accounts, free debt counseling, plus no-cost financial planning. Learn more and join us at one-to-one-fcu.org, federally insured by NCUA.
Is your business losing sales from the current pandemic? Are you trying to remain in touch with important clients? If you're struggling with questions like this, you're not alone. Many small businesses are currently in a severe crisis and need immediate assistance. As the nation's premier organization supporting small businesses, SCORE offers webinars on a variety of topics that can help you manage through this crisis. Click on the Take a Workshop tab at jacksonville.score.org and register today.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Austin Lane from Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Smart speakers are becoming part of everyday life, so why not use it to listen to the radio? Tell Alexa, Google Home, or any other speaker to play ESPN 690. Give it a shot weekday afternoons from 3 to 6.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
I heard some crazy, but maybe it's not such a crazy idea, to have a quarterback on your roster that is not at the facility around the guys, because you could conceivably end up in a situation where you're down to quarterback 3 relatively quickly.
Yeah, that's one of the things I've been pondering in the last 2 or 3 weeks. As we set the protocols, and from what I'm understanding is if you test positive, you're quarantined for 2 weeks. Now, that if you have no symptoms, I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Is it a false one? There's so much to learn and still explore with this thing. But I've thought about keeping the third quarterback on the roster out of the room.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have 2 guys that have been in our system really sharp. So I might have to quarantine a quarterback just in case of a quarantine.
Ooh, all right. right.
That
There's a
Zoom
lot
audio
there.
is going to hurt you guys a little
There's
bit.
a lot there.
I thought I know who it was, but
we're trying this because this was born, by the way, yesterday. We didn't. If you didn't tell us who like RG3 was, we would have had no idea that was RG3 talking. So we said, hey, all right, give us another mystery soundbite. Who was that? Obviously, it's an NFL coach, right? Got to be.
Of course, yeah. We've had two guys in the
How about
system.
this?
Two guys in the system keep a third quarterback quarantined.
I think
You
that's a
guys
wild
can
concept. I have
ask
a good
for
idea who it
one
is.
hint after you guys debate for a little bit.
All right.
I have a good idea who it is
Let's
already.
first figure it out. You have a good. I feel like I know the voice. It wasn't like Andy Reid. Two guys in the system.
Okay, can I ask you one question?
Wait. Let's talk first before.
Are we on the same team here?
Yes.
All right. I think it's Bruce Arians, but keep in mind, Brady hasn't been in the system. I think that was kind of a misspeak. It sounded like Bruce Arians to me. That's what I was going to go with. Because, like, he's kind of the guy that would, like, I don't know if he's being serious about having a third quarterback quarantined, but, like, he's got the personality to say that. Like, I can see Bruce Arians saying that.
I didn't feel like it was. Who is the third? Is there a third quarterback up with Foles and Trubisky? Could that be Nagy?
But Foles hasn't been in the system.
Yeah, but he technically has.
Okay, technically. Is there a third quarterback? All right, let me check that out quick.
Or could that have been Peterson at Philly?
No, because Hurts is the backup, and he just got there.
Yeah, that would make sense. Okay.
It's not Steve Carroll. Oh, I'm sorry, Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll. Yeah,
nah, definitely wasn't Pete Carroll.
Steve Carroll.
Could have been Vrabel. Who do they have? Tannehill?
Yeah.
And they have who else? They got rid of Mariota.
Kuz, can you play it just a little soundbite just one more time, please?
Yeah, that's one of the things I've been pondering in the last 2 or 3 weeks. As we set the protocols, and from what I'm understanding is if you test positive, you're quarantined for 2 weeks.
Older guy. It sounds
He
like
has
to
an
me.
Andy Reid twang to him.
Yeah, older gentleman. I feel like not Vrabel.
Yeah, it wasn't Vrabel.
All right, what should the question be? I'll ask because you suck at when we do these things and we have like guess who it is. Is the head coach? Is he right-handed? I don't know.
Does he wear a hat?
By the way, I asked the last time we had Martin on Palm Beach Autographs, I asked the question that kind of helped us get the answer.
Kinda. Brett, I was the guy. I mean, literally, I was like in the CIA.
I suck at it.
I was the FBI. Brett, you asked something about, like, was it volleyball or something, I remember. Don't even try to defend yourself right now. It's not going to work. Kuz,
could it be shit? No, you can't keep going to
sorry,
the well.
Sorry.
Can it be Shanahan?
I have a really good...
Shanahan's too young.
Who's the Broncos coach?
This guy's old. Vic Fangio. Well, it wasn't Vic.
Definitely wasn't Vic.
Wasn't Vic.
You've heard him.
I've
played
heard
for
him.
him.
Yeah.
It wasn't what's his name up at Patricia?
Wasn't Patricia. All right. So
could it be Rule? No, it's a new system.
So let's go ahead and ask this question. All right. Kuz. This head coach.
The most thought out minute of Austin's day.
Man, I know.
Here.
This is the only minute.
Here's the problem.
This is the
I
only
would not
thought
know
out
the
minute
answer.
of my day. I know. So I have to ask what. All right. But think about it, Brent. Why are they talking to this coach? So he's got to be in a prominent role that has a decent quarterback.
He's the head coach of the NFL.
Yeah, but they're asking him these questions for a reason. There's a reason why this soundbite made it through the airwaves.
Was this a relatively new soundbite, or something you went back into the woods to get?
This was on the prep sheet.
Okay, so this was in the last couple of days.
Kuz, is this guy Bruce Arians?
Yes.
You got it.
That's a walk-off, baby. That's a walk-off.
Play that again.
You guys have a good night.
Play that again.
You guys have a good night. That's a walk-off.
How could he have two guys? You called it. He made an error there.
Yeah, but
Tom Brady's new.
That's a walk-off, man.
Blaine Gabbert has been in the system.
He has. Yeah, and I thought about that.
Who's the Bucs' third QB? Did they draft somebody?
I don't think they have anybody, do they?
Didn't they? No, didn't. Who were you guys talking about?
Gabbert. Gabbert's a backup.
Okay, Gabbert. Yeah.
Great deduction on your part, though. That
they have maybe Ryan Griffin.
Yeah,
it's Ryan. I don't know. Whatever.
How about that? Fascinating topic. Would you keep a third quarterback
for sure in quarantine? Well, see, once again, I think he was joking. Like, I think he was just kidding. Like, that was his
But he
personality.
was asked the question.
The
question was asked.
But, like, I feel like he had a little of just kind of a little
But is there
joke to it.
Is there something to that, though? Like, where you might have certain players, like, as, like, a backup just in case?
Me and Brent have had this conversation off the air, and I'll share it right now on there. The way these NFL teams are operating, where it's usually the in-house staff that's acting like the third-party liaison in terms of coronavirus, if Tom Brady gets coronavirus and they're trying to make a playoff run, there's no way that team doctor is going to be like, well, Tom Brady has coronavirus, let's set him out. I'll be honest with you, Brent, I don't see it happening. And you can go ahead and
I gotta be honest.
Go ahead.
If I was the team, if I was the head coach, I wouldn't either.
Yeah, so this is my thing right here. And go ahead and mark this down. Go ahead and write this down. Go ahead and write this down. My prediction is for this year, there is going to be some controversy with one NFL team who did not follow the coronavirus protocol and actually played a player when he should have been sitting out. Mark it down right now. Mark it in the books. I predict it's going to happen.
The question is, if that were to happen, and I think you are onto something, I think we're all being naive if we don't think that could be the case, what's the punishment? Is there one?
That's a good idea.
Do they go take the Heisman away? I mean, seriously.
Yeah,
what if we don't find out in until after the season that somebody? Because those are the things you don't find out right away.
Correct.
You find out later on down the road.
Correct.
That he had tested positive earlier in the year. Somebody slips up and says something.
Yeah.
Or more research is done or an investigation or whatever. What do they do? Lose a draft? I mean, they become the Houston Astros of last night. Lose a draft pick.
Sure.
I mean, they might. Therefore,
you have to make a precedent. You have to do something.
Well, therefore, what are teams saying internally that if you do this, if you do something like this, here's the punishment?
Sure.
Like, is that even out there, or are teams going to test the punishment?
Of
that?
I'm sure it's out there.
It's good.
What the consequences are, but they don't care, Brent. Because once again, if Tom Brady gets coronavirus, there is no way they're going to say Tom Brady has coronavirus.
And the point here is being like he's asymptomatic.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And so obviously he's healthy enough to play.
I'm not saying that the guy's like coughing up a lung and he's on the field. I mean, obviously the optics look really bad. But yeah, if he's asymptomatic, there's no way.
Yeah, it's wild.
Go ahead and put me in the books for one win today. Appreciate
By the way,
it, Brent.
it's like your most proud moment of the week.
I was pumped up. But to be fair, though, I just kind of used deductive reasoning. Like it sounded like an older coach.
It did.
Kind of had a twang a little bit of swag to him. There's not a lot of
That's
older
a good
coaches
call on
that
your
are
part.
Yeah.
But he threw you off with we got two guys in the system, but and you also said Arians is a little out there, so he would do something like this. That's a good call. You did.
Thank you, Brent.
I'm glad to have you on my team on this.
Thank you, Brent. I appreciate it.
I would ask something about some volleyball team or something like that. Most likely. Hey, a couple quick hitters, and we'll get to the NBA side of that from a player's perspective. But since we're on the NFL, yesterday, we didn't really talk about this much yesterday. There were some reports floating around that some of the preseason could be lost.
Mm-hmm.
You've played in the league. Do you think guys will be ready? And some of the evidence of this was, I saw the article on it, and they brought up 2011 when you played. And when they had the lockout, and guys came in late. And so there were this rash of injuries that happened, like a little boost in injuries. And from
I was a part of it.
Hamstrings to whoever. And you had a torn labrum.
Yeah.
So what do you think of the idea of, there's two ideas. One, getting in even earlier than, say, June 27th or whatever it is. But the thought there is players aren't going to go for that. They don't want to come in even earlier in their summer break, if you will, especially since the world kind of is just opening up.
Of course.
Or eliminating a couple of preseason games so you then give more time for conditioning and installation and everything else. As a former player who lived through 2011, how do you feel about it?
Listen, I feel like there has to be something done. Now, is taking away preseason games ideal? Absolutely not, right? Because the preseason games are an opportunity for players to separate themselves on whether they can make a roster or not. So I think about those bubble guys who need those preseason games to try to make a team. But also, that's a small fraction. And we're talking about the sacrifice for the greater good right now. So I'm all for taking some preseason games away to get guys acclimated, because even in practice, then maybe just a little more of live tackling, maybe do a little more live drills, things like that, where you can kind of see what type of players you have and who you can have on your team. because the biggest thing that I'm worried about, and once again, I talked about it, I had my torn labrum that year, and it wasn't anything like I wasn't in shape, but it was just, listen, it was a freak accident, and that happens.
Do you think it was related at all? Like, maybe you thought you were in shape?
No, listen, I tried to work a pass rush move, got caught in the pile, and it is what it is. Just felt the pop, and then it gradually got worse and worse week by week. So I don't think sitting out, with the lockout had anything to do with my injury. But I do understand, like, listen, the only way to get acclimated to football, and I don't care how many squats you do in the squat rack, I don't care how many sprints that you run on a field, I don't care how many drills you do with a quarterback and your wide receiver out of high school. I don't care. Until you practice in an NFL practice, you're not going to get acclimated, all right? So with that being said, and also consider it too, the rookies, they're going to get thrown in the fire right away because there is no rookie minicamp. There is no introduction. You're just there and you go. So with that being said, I'm all for taking some preseason games away, and that way you can kind of slowly build as opposed to be like, all right, welcome to the NFL. Let's go hit the ground running. No. People get hurt that way. So I'm all for taking the preseason games away and then just gradually building and working people out and working people up. And then by the time it's the regular season, they feel conditioned and they feel acclimated.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about taking the preseason away. I like what you said there, and I get what you said. That players need chances. They need opportunities.
They do.
But I just look at what happened yesterday in Major League Baseball, and I feel I tweeted this. So it's been a tough year for baseball. You have conflict in the MLB. Are you going to lose some fans? On top of that, the Major League Baseball draft is usually 40 rounds. It's 1,200 players or something. Well, this year it's 5. It's 160 players. That's it. You're talking about 1,000 kids losing out on the dream of getting drafted. Listen, it'd be, even if you don't make it, to get drafted, it's kind of cool. You have an opportunity. Now, they can be signed undrafted, but even that pool is going to be smaller. Then you even think about it from baseball standpoint. Look at all the college baseball programs that are being shut down because of the pandemic, and it's opportunity for the universities to cut, and some of those things are happening. Well, it's no different in this sense than some of the players, right?
Yep.
You don't have you didn't have the rigorous off-season of pro days and everything else. Well, you lost a chance to see some of those players. Somebody that might have shined at a pro day, you didn't pick them up in undrafted free agency or even drafted them. There are some people out there that probably are being overlooked.
There's always
because they didn't get those chances.
Correct.
Well, it's the same goes for the people now you have on the roster. How will they perform under the lights? That's an important facet of it. How many guys have we seen out here? How many guys did you play with? They said, man, this guy's lighting it up. This guy's good. Get him underneath the lights. Fumble, can't catch, whatever. It's totally different.
It is.
So it's I think guys will miss out on jobs if they do it that way. How about from a fan perspective? Does it? I don't know if the fans matter.
About preseason,
fans care.
Yeah, you know how fans feel about the preseason games. And listen, Brent, I don't want to see preseason games go away because, like I said, I know. I mean, literally, I was probably one of the last guys cut in Chicago, and it came down to the last preseason game. Like I needed that game to try to make a team. Okay, so I get it. But to me, there's no perfect answer, right? Like something has to be sacrificed here. And either you're going to sacrifice those guys that are kind of on the bubble that rely on those preseason games to make a team, or you're going to sacrifice possibly some players' health and some superstars' health. And I think if you're the NFL right now, you're more concerned about your money makers, your superstar athletes, than you are concerned about the bubble guys who need a preseason game to make a team.
Honestly, I think this is logical. Think about it this way. People said, when we asked this question at the early part of this pandemic, college coaches across the board and everywhere else said, hey, we need 6 to 8 weeks. 6 at the minimum, 8 weeks would be beneficial to get everybody on the same page ready to play. Now, I think they meant play the regular season. But still, even if you think about playing the regular season in the NFL will start September 10th.
Yeah.
If you go to camp on July even 25th, that's not 8 weeks. That's more like 6 weeks. Bridge is close to 7.
Sure.
So are you getting enough time, and are you really getting enough time to play even in a preseason game, whether it's a series or 2 series, or for a young player, laying it all out there?
Yeah.
Risk of getting hurt. You could even see from a team perspective, they don't want that because now you have all these injury settlements that you have to pay, and that becomes part of the equation.
I mean, practices could look different, Brent. Practices could feature a lot more live drilling because teams have to know what they have, from the rookies and from the undrafted free agents.
That's a good call. I think what's interesting here is, next year we're going to 17 regular season games and 3 preseason. It's kind of ironic that we'll get potentially 16 and 2. I don't mind this idea. Not because I hate preseason games. I just think it makes sense. I think getting guys in shape, doing some of that stuff, and by the way, I think it would really benefit even the Jags. I understand 4 preseason games could help the Jags, too, get on the same page. I think more practice time and condition, all that stuff on the field might even help them more.
Sure.
Because, in a game week, you really limit everything. The day off before the game, you're not playing, you're not practicing. It's like a walkthrough. The day off after, the day of the game, just the guys that are playing plays. I mean, it's really 3 days you lose. One of those is going to be an off day either way. So I guess 2 days that you might lose to install, teach, whatever. Well, on this team, those could be important things. You're a young football team. That could be very important. I would just say this. If I was Doug Marrone and you only play 2 games, and again, these are just conversations that the league, I think, is having, I would play my guys for a half if I could. And then, you do your normal thing and you play. But I would probably just play the young guys the second game. I'd only use it 1 game. You basically get like 1 scrimmage game.
Sure.
To get ready for the season.
Yeah,
that's the way I would probably approach
rehearsal.
it.
Yeah.
So I would approach the 1 game as it was like preseason game number 3. And I would approach the other game as it was preseason game number 4.
And kind of like you mentioned, too, schematically speaking here, where we got a new offense coming in with, Jay Gruden. We have a new defense coming in with Todd Washington at 3-4. I mean, there's a lot of X's and O's that have to be put into place, and there's a lot of guys that have to learn that playbook and be on the same page. And while a preseason game could kind of help you get a feel for it a little bit, I'm just worried about, making sure everyone's coached up right and ready for the regular season. So as opposed to planning for all these preseason games, now you can just focus on your own guys, which necessarily isn't really a bad thing.
I want to get a couple things in real quick. The NBA and players, a little backlash. You mentioned that could take place. Woj, reported that we could have some little conflict with some players. Do you think it goes anywhere, or do you think most players are going to end up playing when things start July 30th?
I think it's going somewhere, man. I'm telling you.
Do you think some players are going to say, I'm not playing?
No, but I think some players are going to be outspoken and try to change the rules around where they can go home and sleep in their own bed and things like that.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll have the power to change the rules.
Okay. We shall see. But I'm just saying, man, to try to convince a professional athlete to stay under quarantine in a hotel at Disney or whatever for more than 2 months, good luck with that.
Good luck with that.
Good luck with that.
What do you think wins out? As players would win that and be like, hey, get some leniency on that? Yep. Or it comes to a point where a player will say, I'm not playing. Like, I think of Dame Lillard, right? Lillard's probably the best example of this because he's been outspoken about it, and it was more about the kind of the setup.
Yep.
Do you think Dame Lillard gets his way? And again, I'm just using him as an example. And says, hey, yeah, I can go home or my family can be here or whatever. Yep. I'm not sequestered, if you will, to a hotel. Or he says, I'm playing.
Nope. I think the NBA is going to cave and give the NBA players exactly what they want.
Interesting. We'll see where it goes. It's kind of a new topic, and we'll see where the discussions go. Major League Baseball draft continues tonight. Colby Halter from Bishop Kenny has a real chance to get drafted. Also, some other players from the area, including a JU baseball player, we'll keep an eye on. Austin Martin had a big night last night. Really the big story last night was just as much as Major League Baseball, and they tried to keep away from the disagreement and the conflict going on. But Manfred, the commissioner, said, when asked about playing ball, said 100% it's going to happen. So a season's going to happen.
Yeah, for sure.
Which, I mean, we've kind of been thinking it will anyway.
Yeah.
But what will it look like is still very much up for debate. Could be a 48-game season, which would be very small. And then we asked that same question about Major League Baseball. Do some of the stars sit out and say, you can take my 50% prorated salary. I ain't playing this year.
Yeah.
I think that could really happen, especially with a 48-game season, which won't make players look good probably, but it certainly could be.
For the love of the game, Brent, for the love of the game.
The love of the game. I'll play. I'll be a replacement player.
I have experience playing first base and catcher, man. Let's go.
Hey, best memorabilia item you have. Sports memorabilia item. *690. Leave us a message tonight. Tomorrow, we'll talk a little bit about it coming up on tomorrow's show. Make sure you check out CBS 47 and Fox 30 tonight. Have a good night, everybody.
Oye, amigo, it is the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
We've talked about this before. When a bank gives you $100,000 by mistake, do not go spend that money because you're going to get into a lot of trouble for it. But an Albuquerque teenager found $135,000 in cash next to an ATM. What would you do, Stugotz?
Finders keepers. The Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN.